Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we just pulled the 103. Honestly, in my opinion, I think this is about the best range you can be drafting with. I know a lot of people say, oh no, I love pick 11. I love pick... Not on underdog. On underdog, I think you need a top 5 pick if you want to come away with a beautiful team. That's exactly what we have here. So be excited to get what? Like our 100th live stream in a row going. We live stream every single day. We're probably going to live stream every single day until the end of the football year as well. So of course, if you are not already, subscribe to the channel, even though I know 99.999% of y'all are already subscribed, and drop that like if you are just now coming in here. Because so many of y'all have been doing that, we have to do a 24-hour live stream on Monday. Just thank you, of course, for getting us the 90,000 subscribers, but dear God, probably going to be the biggest mistake I've ever made in my entire life, going through and committing to a 24-hour live stream fantasy football draft marathon on Monday. I hope to see you there. I know that we are going to have a ton of your favorite fantasy football analysts there as well. We are going to go ahead. We are going to take Cooper Kupp here at 3. With Kupp, I understand that 99% of people here are going to prefer Justin Jefferson over him. I'm right there with you. I understand why you would. We've been taking a lot of Jefferson over the past month or so. But based on the reports we're getting out of Los Angeles, I'm less worried about the Stafford injury than I was. So let's go ahead. Let's take Cooper Kupp at pick 3. But J.A. coming out, thank you, my friend, says, I draft first tomorrow in Dynasty. Is it Jonathan Taylor or Justin Jefferson? If you start 9 or fewer players, Jonathan Taylor. 10 or more, I think you go Justin Jefferson. Cito says, what time on Monday? The plan for the stream on Monday is going to be, we're going to go live probably 10 a.m. Eastern. Or around 10 a.m. Eastern. And then we're going to be live until about 10 a.m. Eastern on Tuesday. So I expect you. I know everybody out here watching this currently is, of course, going to be out there that live stream with us. But for the love of God, if you're watching this as a video later on and usually don't come out to these streams, I expect you to come out to the live stream with us to hop into some drafts with us, because I don't know how we are going to fill like 50-something drafts. So, of course, if you want to draft with us any night on the live stream, whether that's tonight, tomorrow night, the night after that, or in that 24-hour live stream draft marathon, make sure you go sign up for Underdog Fantasy. On Underdog Fantasy, when you sign up, use promo code FLOCK. They'll match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. We'll get our 2022 fantasy football rankings. We'll get our 2022 fantasy football draft guide. And, of course, you'll support the channel. Okay, so after we take Cooper Kupp, it looks like a very standard draft board so far. I mean, if we were to talk about anything that looks out of the ordinary, I mean, I guess Dalvin Cook falling to 9, but in reality, it's a very standard board. I know we kind of go out of our way a little bit to take Kupp over Jefferson. In reality, I think that they're in the same tier. I don't necessarily think you can make a wrong decision between the two players. But let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. Now, our next question coming out from Carly. Thank you. Says, Flock, Deanna really broke up with me. She musty. Shake my head, Deanna. Shake my head. That's all I got to say. Now we got Saquon Barkley off the board here, 15, right after Najee Harris. I've seen more and more Saquon Barkley before Najee Harris drafts as of late. Now, personally, I think that you have to go through, I think you have to take Najee. I understand the thought process with Saquon Barkley and that you're looking at him as a running back that could potentially get to a 20% team target share. I mean, we've seen the elite level target share in years past for Saquon Barkley. And at the same time, if we're looking at the pass catching options you have right now in New York, Kenny Golladay looks like he's just complete trash at training camp. Kadarius Toney hasn't been the healthiest player. Wan'Dale Robinson's a little undersized. I mean, there are a lot of different reasons why you should assume that Saquon Barkley is going to have an extremely large workload. Okay. Tyreek Hill off the board. Mark Andrews goes. Okay. I guess we go ahead and we take Deebo Samuel. I mean, here with Deebo Samuel, this is a wide receiver that we've already discussed. Going to see some regression, in my opinion. Not scoring 8 rushing touchdowns again. We've said this a million times over. But he falls to a 22 here on Underdog Fantasy. It's best ball. You have to start 3 wide receivers. These wide receivers are going to fly off draft boards. We can go Deebo Samuel here, and we can still get usually a running back like Leonard Fournette or Nick Chubb on the way back around in the 3rd. But Caden decides to go with that hyper-fragile build here. 3 running backs out the gate. So instead, it looks like we're actually going to end up grabbing a tight end in Kyle Pitts at the beginning of the 3rd round. Let's go through. Let's take Kupp, Deebo, then Kyle Pitts. I mean, it does suck having to draft Kyle Pitts here compared to where we used to be able to get them. Like, used to be able to get Kyle Pitts in the middle of the third to the end of the third round on Underdog. Now I think drafters have gotten a lot sharper. We tweeted this out, and we've been talking about this for a while. But I would not be surprised if you actually have Kyle Pitts outscoring some of these wide receivers that he used to go behind. He used to go behind Michael Pittman. He used to go behind Mike Williams and Courtland Sutton. I would not be surprised if Kyle Pitts outscored every single one of those players, and you get him with tight end eligibility. He's literally a cheat code in fantasy football. But now Keenan Allen off the board here, 32. So I guess what I want to be looking out for is I want to try to monitor a couple different teams here. I want to try to watch out for team 1, team 5, and I want to look at Ben's team as well. Ben decides to go Eckler, Aaron Jones, and Josh Allen through the first 3. Very, very rarely are you going to see that. Very rarely do you get that. Okay, Steven asking if we're drafting in our pajamas. Let me know what y'all think with this. Obviously, the 24-hour live stream is going to be the toughest thing imaginable for a couple different reasons. What do y'all think? We roll with the suit, or are we going casual? I think we got to roll with the suit. Who would I be? Would it even be a 24-hour fantasy flock draft marathon if we weren't rocking the suit? I don't know. I think we'd disappoint a lot of people. But now we have Al Johnson going out there going Courtland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy here at the 3-4 turn. I'd imagine they're going to look for Russell Wilson later on at the end of the 7th round. But Mark coming out says, YouTube only saves 12-hour videos at a time. Your 24-hour stream will need to be stopped at 12 and restarted if you want it all saved. Yes, sir. I know that. Thank you for highlighting that real quick. I should probably make that announcement. I'm already preparing myself for a lot of people to come into the live stream and go, why are you saying you've been live for 16 hours? You've only been live for 4. Yeah, so that 24-hour live stream is going to be broken back to back into just 12-hour videos. So we're going to go live for 12 hours. And then I'm going to have to say, okay, we are ending it here. We're going to go live in 1 second. End it, and then automatically start another. Okay, looks like everybody's going casual. Okay. If y'all want, maybe we do it. Maybe we do it. We'll see. But let's see what we are going to, oh my gosh. I think that you actually have Caden most likely having to take wide receivers here whenever he decided to go Taylor, Fournette, and Nick Chubb through the first 3. So let's see if he is willing to pull the trigger on the elite level quarterback in Patrick Mahomes. But he goes Kittle, and I'd imagine we see Juju. I'd imagine we see him go Juju Smith. Yeah, he goes Juju. So honestly, I think we played this correctly. We go Deontay Johnson, get a wide receiver that I'm very excited about. And at the same time, I think we should get Patrick Mahomes, considering that this team just took Justin Herbert. Yeah, Darren Waller off the board. So we are going to get Patrick Mahomes. I think that we played that perfectly. So far we have the 3 wide receivers. We have the elite level tight end and the elite level quarterback. Y'all know I love me some mid-round running back value on Underdog, where you're getting someone like David Montgomery at the 6-7 turn. Worst case scenario, we're taking Josh Jacobs in the 7th. Bobcat telling us to wear PJs. I don't know if we're a page. To be honest with you, I don't own PJs. If you're a grown man wearing PJs, what is up with you? Fix your life. I don't know if I've worn PJs since I was, I have no idea. Maybe elementary school. But now we have A.J. Dillon off the board here at 53. Interesting to see A.J. Dillon continuing to slide up draft boards at this point. I mean, A.J. Dillon is probably going to go a total of like 30 picks before Josh Jacobs in this draft. And to be honest with you, I'm not loving the gap that you're going to have there. Miller says, love the channel. Any thoughts on my 3 wide receiver happy PR 12-man home league? Of course, Miller, thank you so much for the support. 7th pick, where we got the elite level quarterback, Kyler Murray. We have Aaron Jones, Elijah Mitchell, Miles Sanders at running back. At wide receiver, we have Justin Jefferson, Mike Evans, Jalen Waddle, DeAndre Hopkins. Tight end, we have Zach Ertz. Okay, so this makes a lot of sense. We have the double stack here with Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins, and Zach Ertz. I like the fact that we're building around the wide receiver position early with Justin Jefferson in the first round in a league where we have to start 3 wide receivers. Yeah, I really like this team. If I were to go through and try to say anything, honestly, it's very hard for me to recommend anything. I think that you are well balanced across the entire roster, We have the double stack. We're building that correlation within the Kyler Murray build. I think it's a great team, my friend. Great team. Now we have Cam Akers finally off the board here, pick 59. We have the team at the 5-6 turn, and Alex deciding to go Jalen Hurts and Kyler Murray. I'm not going to lie to you. I have done that in some drafts. We have done that in some drafts. But again, thank you so much, Miller. I wish I could come out here and tell you to make a change, but in reality, what am I supposed to say with that squad? Dameon Pierce off the board 64. Not going to lie to you. I was not thinking about grabbing Dameon Pierce. There are a couple different running backs that I'd prefer here. Mindcracker coming out. Thank you. Says, happy PR 10-team league where we got 2 running backs, 2 receivers, and 2 flex spots. We're going Taylor in the first, Cup for the second round with the keeper format. Would you go Mark Andrews, running back, or wide receiver in the third? I would say in a league where you have 2 additional flex spots, I'm not dying to grab the elite level. Tight ends. But still, I mean, if you're going to get Mark Andrews in the third round in a keeper format, I think that's a very strong value. I'd say if we're going to be looking at him in comparison of some of the running backs or wide receivers in rankings overall, I probably would go through and I would compare him to, say, our tier 4 running backs. Like if you have, say, a tier 3 guy making it down to probably go with like a Nick Chubb over a Mark Andrews in a half PPR format in this league in particular. But no, I mean, hard to complain with Mark Andrews in the third. Okay. So now we go Brandon Ayuk, thinking that we could get Trey Lance on the way back around. We thought we could go through, take Brandon Ayuk, have the correlation with that San Francisco 49ers offense, get Lance in a best ball format. It looks like that doesn't happen. Josh Jacobs off the board. We're going to have to go ahead. We are going to take a running back. We will take Chase Edmonds here. I think Chase Edmonds is more appealing now that this running back room is thinned out a bit with no Sony Michel. I think that we don't have to worry as much about Sony Michel or really any running back here going through and vulturing touchdowns away from Chase Edmonds. So yeah, not the toughest decision in the world, to be honest. I'm going to be completely fine with this. Okay. Let's move this down. And Nate says, is Joe Burrow still on the board? Yeah, Joe Burrow goes off the board at pick 76. Russell Wilson goes 77. So I believe it was Al Johnson, a longtime member of the flock, who decided to go Courtland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy at the 3-4 turn, looking to get the stack up with Russell Wilson. Obviously, that doesn't work out here. And we just passed 100 likes in the live stream. Thank you so much for everybody going down there and dropping that like. Alex says, Mason, in a shallow 8-man roster, are we going to go Dameon Pierce or Cordell Patterson? Oh, Dameon Pierce easily. Dameon Pierce. I mean, in a shallow 8-man league, of course, the only thing that we're looking for is upside. I think it's hard to see an elite level ceiling for Cordell Patterson, considering the fact he's a 31-year-old running back at this point. I think we saw the peak last year. I would go through in that format. I would 100% take Dameon Pierce. In reality, I would do that in any format. Okay. Now we have DeAndre Hopkins and Amari Cooper off the board. I think we're in a good spot with this team. I think it is a very balanced roster. Like, I wouldn't have taken Chase Edmonds here, pick 75, a couple weeks back, but I do think that we have to make the adjustment with no Sony Michel. Roy says, I'm going to try to watch most of the 24-hour live stream. Please. Please. I wish there was a way like YouTube could track the amount of hours people were watching on the live stream and we could like create, maybe I can build out like a fun little mini game with it. Where like every 45 minutes or so, we have like a keyword that you need to write down and we can, I like this idea. I really like this idea. We have like a keyword that you need to write down and then whoever gets the most keywords at the end of the 24-hour stream, or maybe like 23 hours in, then they get to come on the live stream for the last hour. What do y'all think about that idea? Oh my gosh. I love that idea. Would y'all be excited about that? So let me repeat this. So for the 24-hour live stream on Monday, like every 45 minutes, I say a keyword, whether that keyword's like orange, apple, banana, whatever it is. You write it down. The issue is going to have to figure out how would we score that? It will probably be something that has to be done afterwards. Then maybe on Tuesday night, you get to go on the live stream with us. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Because then I can spend the rest of the day going through and grading out how people did and how many keywords they got to see who was in the live stream the longest. And then as like a prize, they come on the live stream. Okay. Soul coming out says 12-team half PPR. I got third pick. Are we going to go Cup, Justin Jefferson, or Austin Eckler? If it's a league where you only start 2 running backs, 2 receivers, a tight end, and a flex, there I honestly think that it's very boring. Wide receivers don't matter nearly as much. You just take the running back. If it's a league where you have to start 3 wide receivers like Underdog Fantasy, hell, we just got the third pick, and I went through and I took Cooper Kupp. Okay. Okay. I think most people like that idea. I really like that idea for us to go through and, you know what? Actually, we got to go ahead and take Sky Moore. We drafted Patrick Mahomes. We're going to take Sky Moore here. 94. Get that correlation in. I think Caden's still going to have a very hard time taking running back. I mean, he started out Jonathan Taylor, Leonard Fournette, and Nick Chubb. Let's see what he decides to do. Let's see what he decides to do. Luke says, how many people will turn in their answers? However many turn them in. 5 people turn them in, then whoever has the highest score out of 5. Now, Robert Woods goes in 96. Tyler Lockett, 97. So I think we made the right call here. Antonio Gibson off the board. So at this point, let's go ahead. Let's take Miles Sanders. I mean, I would be much more worried about Miles Sanders if he still was not practicing, but it looks like Sanders practiced yesterday. So if he practiced yesterday, he's probably going to be good to go week 1. At least I'd imagine he'll be good to go. But let's scroll this down. And of course, if you have not done so already, go down there. Drop a like on the live stream. Drop a like on the live stream. Luke says, no, how will they turn in their answers? Probably just send them to me on Twitter or something. We'll figure a way out. We'll figure it a way out. But yeah, I'll make an announcement on, I feel like we should have done this a while ago, though. I feel like we should have done this a while. I'll have to think through it. Now, after we take Miles Sanders, you have Damian Harris and James Cook going off the board at the running back position. Right now, I mean, obviously, we're elite at quarterback. We're elite at wide receiver. We don't really have, I mean, we have the elite level tight end with Kyle Pitts as well. So, pretty weak at running back. In a basketball format, we're going to go through and draft 6 of these guys. So, I think we will be fine. Now, Dak Prescott falls all the way to 103. Dear God, when's the last time y'all saw Dak Prescott go this low? Like, let's see, what team here was able to get Dak at 103? This is a team that has Lamar Jackson already in the 4th. I'd imagine if they knew they were going to get Dak Prescott down there in the 9th, it probably wouldn't have taken Lamar there, but regardless, at running back, Derrick Henry, Javonte Williams, Elijah Mitchell, Rashad Penny, so a very strong running back team. Wide receiver, Michael Pittman, Rashad Bateman, Devonta Smith. So a little light on wide receivers. They do have the Baltimore stack there with Lamar and Bateman. And then with Dak Prescott, why I really like this Dak Prescott selection is because it's going to be very easy for you to get Gallup later on. I mean, maybe if you weren't in a draft with us, I'll say that. Luke says, got Dak in the 8th round of my home league. Let me know what y'all think about this, but in home leagues, if you think that you are significantly better than the rest of the field, because I know everybody in this live stream right now, we all eat, breathe, and sleep fantasy football. But like when you get in that home league with your friends who like they'll check in, like they've been watching fantasy football videos over the past week or maybe 2 weeks, and you know that they're not going to be paying as much attention to the waiver wire as you are, I feel like an easy way to get a significant edge over them is to go through and just grab the elite level tight end, knowing that you're going to be able to beat them down later on at running back and wide receiver, knowing that you'll be able to find value in the draft that they can't. So I like the idea in your just casual home redraft league, grabbing the elite tight end, grabbing the elite level quarterback, having some extra spots on your bench to pick up those extra high upside waiver wire running backs and receivers. But here we go, Cordell Patterson, 118. I mean, it's a no-brainer Patterson pick. I don't think we would do anything else here. Okay, so Jahan Dotson off the board. At this point, what do we want to do? We could just go ahead and take... Let's go take Hines. I mean, in a regular fantasy football league where you submit your starting lineup every single week, I'm not a massive fan of taking Hines here because, yeah, Hines will have his random spike weeks given the role that he has as a receiver, but it's going to be very hard to know exactly when Nyheim Hines is going to produce. However, on Underdog, where it's best ball, you don't submit your starting lineup, it's automatically done for you at the end of every single week. We will be able to capture some of those random spike weeks in for Nyheim Hines. We need another running back. I mean, we're bringing him in as running back 4 here on a team where we have Chase Edmonds, Miles Sanders, Cordell Patterson, Nyheim Hines. We're elite at wide receiver. We have the elite level QB with Patrick Mahomes. We have the elite level tight end with Kyle Pitts. So I think we're fine to do this. Okay. Swing this back around. Romeo Dubs goes off the board here, 126. I felt like he fell to us. It's like a wild point in our $500 draft recently that we did. And okay, I was talking about this in the live stream, but I was looking at it even closer today. Y'all got to give me some credit for this $1,000 draft we did. This was the highest stakes draft we did all offseason. At running back, we got JT pick 1. No, I'm sorry. Wrong league. I was looking for the Bulldog draft. This is a $500 draft. Look at how beautiful this draft is. CMC, pick 4. Saquon Barkley, pick 21. AJ Brown, 28. Brandon Ayuk, we got to pick 93 in this draft. We got Brandon Ayuk at 93. Like, this team's a monster here. But now we have a couple more quarterbacks going off the board. You have Kirk Cousins falling to 128 as well. Extremely late on Kirk Cousins if we look at where he usually goes. Very similar to Dak Prescott falling in this draft. Luis coming out. Thank you, of course, always, my friend. Says, hey, Mason, in a 12-team full PPR ESPN league, I have Kyler Murray, James Conner, David Montgomery, Hollywood Brown, Chris Godwin, Justin Jefferson, Travis Kelce. Got offered Travis Kelce for Pitts and Josh Allen. What are your thoughts? Okay, so we have Kyler. So in reality, what's the points per game gap we are getting with Josh Allen? I would say in a vacuum, Josh Allen and Kyle Pitts have more value than Travis Kelce. It just comes down to what do you think you can flip Kyler for? Because you have kind of built this team around Arizona already. You have Connor. Not only do you have Connor, but more importantly, you have Hollywood Brown as well. Love the team in general. Maybe you've already made this Travis Kelce deal where you traded Pitts and Josh Allen for Travis Kelce, which, I mean, it makes sense if you have the Kyler Murray piece of it. But yeah, you have the elite level quarterback. You have the elite level tight end. Just like what we were talking about previously, I think if you want to try to exploit your league mates, if you think that you are more active than them and if you think you're a better fantasy football player than them in general, I just love the idea of going out there, maybe overpaying for the elite level tight end, overpaying for the elite level quarterback. Okay. So JB coming out, thank you, my friend, says in a 12-team half PPR 6-point passing touchdown league where we got 2 running backs, 2 receivers, a flex. Okay, so very shallow format here. We got Justin Herbert. Love having Herbert in a 6-point passing touchdown league. Mixon, Elijah Mitchell. Oh my gosh, Diggs, DK Metcalf, Andrews, Mooney. This is a great squad. I mean, if we were to go through and if we were to look to change anything at all, possibly you try to package together DK Metcalf and a small piece on this bench like Tyler Boyd, and you go out there and either get Keenan Allen or Mike Williams to correlate with Justin Herbert, or you can do that same thing with Joe Mixon and try to get Austin Eckler. In reality, I think it's an extremely strong team where it's hard to make any moves. Let me know what y'all think with the squad. And I really like what we're doing on the bench here as well, because with the bench, we are primarily focusing in on players that have that very high ceiling, where we have someone like Rachaad White. We have someone like Treylon Burks. We have someone like Elijah. Trust me, I wish I could say something else, but it's just a very strong team. Okay. So now we have Hunter Henry off the board, 144 here. Let's see what ends up making it back to us. We have KJ Osborne, 145. Jameis Winston off the board. Y'all know I'm not a massive Tolbert guy. Be honest with you, I kind of just want to reach on KJ Hamler here. But the thing is, if we go Tyler Algier, we are going to lock in every single touch in this Atlanta Falcons backfield. Let's go ahead. Let's take Tyler Algier as our 5th running back. Let me know what y'all think of this team so far. So keep in mind, best ball, we're not going to have to actually submit a starting lineup every single week. I think that we can build around these running backs, just hoping that one of them spike into the starting lineup every week. I would be much more excited if this was a tournament-style draft and not a private draft. But we have Cooper Kupp, Deebo Samuel, Deontay Johnson, Brandon Ayuk, Sky Moore at wide receiver. Sky Moore obviously correlates with Patrick Mahomes. We have the elite QB Mahomes. We have the elite tight end in Kyle Pitts. Running back, we have Chase Edmonds, Miles Sanders, Cordell Patterson, Naheem Hines, and Tyler Algier. I think it's an okay team. I mean, if we're going to look at what we can get away with later on, we can probably only draft 2 quarterbacks with this build. We probably only have to draft 2 tight ends as well. So we are going to be able to fire up an extra receiver, an extra running back. But now we have Wan'Dale off the board, 151 here. Wan'Dale, obviously a player that's been trending in the right direction as of late. Not only has Wan'Dale looked good, but at the same time, it's just everybody else in New York has their own red flags where you're getting excited about the raw amount of volume that you may have incoming for Wan'Dale Robinson this year. Riz says, what time is the 24-hour live stream starting? Monday morning. I think we're starting that bad boy off at like 10 a.m. I think we got to start that off at like 10. I mean, it is going to be it's going to be a grind. And I'm not joking when I say this, guys. It's going to be absurdly difficult. Everybody that I know personally has told me not to do it, but the issue is, of course, I have to. If I didn't do it, I might as well just delete the YouTube channel. And we got Christian Watson off the board at 157. Now, these tight ends, honestly, I'm a pretty big fan of the tight ends in this range. I think that they are very comparable to the guys that you'd be taking in like the 10th round. So usually, I mean, we have been in a spot where if we don't get an elite level guy like Kyle Pitts, Darren Waller, George Kittle, we're passing on the players like Dawson Knox, Zach Ertz in favor of like the Robert Tonyan, Tyler Higbee range of guys that you're getting here at the very end. But we don't even know if we're going to get them. Maybe we go through and monopolize every single touch in the Miami Dolphins backfield now as well with Raheem Mostert. Robert Tonyan off the board, 161. Yeah, so we don't even know if we're going to get a tight end that we like in this range. Obviously, we still need running backs. I mean, we took 2 running backs within the first 100 picks. And our first guy was Chase Edmonds. Luke says, if I were you, I would start it at like 2 a.m. Sleep before and sleep after. I like that idea. I do like that idea. It's too late. The ball's already in motion. Maybe you should have told me that a couple days ago. Come on. You should have told me that a couple days ago. Now, we can't take Brian Robinson here. This is not a league with the fantasy football playoffs. It's cumulative scoring weeks 1 through 17. Let's go Raheem Mostert. I mean, at this point, we've monopolized every single touch in both the Miami and Atlanta backfields. So I guess that we at least have a floor at running back on a week-to-week basis. We have the elite quarterback, the elite tight end, the elite receiver. So I think we're going to be able to get away with it. I don't necessarily think that we need to be looking for the highest ceiling possible at the running back position here. CFO says you should really get a guest on in the... Yeah, my friend. I'm ahead of you. We have a lot of guests lined up. We have a decent amount of guests lined up, and I'm not going to lie, I think y'all are really going to like who we're bringing on. Like, y'all are really going to like the guests that we have on the 24-hour live stream. If it was just me alone for 24 hours, my voice would go out like probably 8 hours in. Now we have Tyrion Davis-Price, 172. Sammy Watkins. As I've discussed, Tyrion Davis-Price is a little bit more appealing now that you have Trey Sermon off this team. I mean, I was going through and I was drafting Tyrion Davis-Price at a higher point than this earlier on this offseason. So maybe now we see no Trey Sermon, we're like, okay, I guess you got to go through it. You got to push him back up to where we were drafting previously. It's just so hard to know what the San Francisco 49ers are actually going to do here at the running back position. I mean, it is very difficult. So let's swing this back around. David Bell off the board here, 175. Hey, y'all know David Bell was someone that we were drafting in the 18th round nonstop. I do think that David Bell can't come out here. I think that he can be this year's Amon-Ra St. Brown if we just look at the overall rookie profile. And at the same time, he doesn't have a ton of target competition in Cleveland. You're not drafting these rookies for what they're going to do at the beginning portion of the season. You're drafting David Bell for what he can give you at the very end of the year. That's when you're going to have Deshaun Watson. I think there are reasons to be excited about Bell. But real quick, we are 70 likes away from firing up another draft. If you have not done so already, go down there. Drop a like on this live stream. Guys, if you're not dropping likes on these live streams, this is like our 100th live stream in a row. We're preparing for a 24-hour one. What are you doing? Now, we got a question coming out from Matt. Thank you, my man. Says, I have Jalen Hurts, Austin Eckler, Nick Chubb, A.J. Brown, Gabriel Davis, Elijah Mitchell, with Chase Claypool, MVS on the bench. Should I trade a wide receiver instead of Gabriel Davis or keep it? Honestly, I have not drafted a lot of Gabriel Davis this year. But at the same time, I don't necessarily know if this is the time to trade him. Because Gabriel Davis plays on Thursday night. He's playing in a game that every single person, regardless of if they play fantasy football or not, every single person in the country is going to be watching. You may not have Isaiah McKenzie week 1. On top of this, Ramsey's going up against Diggs. Like, Gabriel Davis is in a spot to completely smash against the Los Angeles Rams. Very difficult to be moving off of him at this point. Very, very difficult. But are you kidding me? Isaiah Likely now has a higher ADP than Noah Fant? This has to be a joke, right? I could never imagine doing this. Isaiah Likely before Noah Fant. Oh, dear God. Dear God. I mean, have we forgotten how good of a player Noah Fant is? Round 1 pick out of Iowa. He's been productive so far in the NFL as well. If we're considering how young of a tight end he was coming into the NFL, looking at that production, Noah Fant as a talent is unbelievable. Obviously, it's a disgusting situation in Seattle, but at the same time in Baltimore, it's probably going to be the most run-heavy team in the NFL, and Isaiah Likely is going to be playing behind Mark Andrews. In what world should Isaiah Likely have a higher ADP? Okay, so Eno Benjamin, blah, blah, blah. All these guys are off the board. We don't even have a stack here with Jared Goff, but if I'm going to be honest with you, if we're looking at Jared Goff, you got DeAndre Swift, you have TJ Hawkinson, you have Jamison Williams, you have Amon-Ra St. Brown, you have DJ Chark, you have a great offensive line. Like, DJ Chark is set up, Jared Goff is set up in a spot to just completely smash this upcoming season. I think that you have to go through. I think you have to draft him. Maybe if this was a tournament style draft, you'd say, oh no, Mason, you really can't draft him if you don't have a stack. You need the stack, yada, yada, yada. No, in a private draft, we're just going through and we're taking them. Okay. So at this point, Austin Hooper off the board as well. We're going to reach on our guy. We're going to reach on Logan Thomas, someone that we've been drafting we were drafting in the 18th round a ton. I guess now you're no longer getting him in the 18th. But let me show off this board. We are going to go through. We're going to draft one more guy, of course, in the last round. But let me just set up another draft for us to go through and get in. I'm assuming we are hitting, actually. Yeah, how about this? If we get 30 more likes in the live stream, we'll fire up another draft. If not, no worries, guys. If anything, I probably should save my voice. If anything, I probably should save my voice. If we hit 300 likes in the live stream, we will go through and we will fire up a second draft of this one. If not, if y'all want us to save our voice for Monday, probably a pretty good call. Okay. Fizz coming out says, hey, Mason, I'm at the 102. What do you think? Thank you, of course, for being a part of the flock for a very long time now, my man. Happy that you were getting in a draft with us here at the 102 CMC. Yeah, obviously, CMC's the auto pick. Mike Evans, A.J. Brown, I think it's probably a smart idea to go through and take back-to-back wide receiver. I have to go in CMC in the first on underdog in particular. Grabbing the elite level quarterback value that's hard to pass up on with Justin Herbert at pick 47. The only reason I passed up on him is because I thought that there was a good shot. We got Patrick Mahomes on the way back around. Darren Waller 50. I think Darren Waller's a lot more appealing now that he is back from injury. He's actually at practice. Allen Lazard 71. I'm not a massive Lazard guy, but at the same time, Drake London's not at practice yet. Drake London hurt his knee the first week. And I repeat, the first week of the preseason. Still not at practice. I think you do need to be concerned for that reason. We have Josh Jacobs, 74. I'm not going to fault anybody for taking Jacobs in the 7th. I've done it in my fair share of drafts. We have George Pickens, 95. I would say in a private draft, maybe I'm more willing to go Robert Woods. Where in a tournament style draft, I'm going to go George Pickens. Just chase that elite level ceiling down the stretch. Love the Antonio Gibson pick here at 98. Joshua Palmer, I like the pick stacking up with Justin Herbert. Yeah, really the only pick that I probably would say is bad at this point, and maybe I'm just being a little bit biased here. I am not a massive fan of what we had there with Isaiah Pacheco. Now, with Isaiah Pacheco, I'll admit, I don't know if I've drafted him in more than 1 to 2 drafts out of like the 700 we have done this offseason. But the reason I'm not drafting Isaiah Pacheco is because you're looking at him as a running back that is now in a backfield of 4 guys. You have Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Ronald Jones, Jerick McKinnon, and Isaiah Pacheco all making the team. So even if he looks like he's the running back 2 in this backfield, if Clyde Edwards-Helaire were to go down, then at the same time, you're in a spot where Isaiah Pacheco is probably splitting with Jerick McKinnon. Not only splitting with Jerick McKinnon, but at the same time, he's going to be possibly ceding some touches to Ronald Jones. So personally, I'm not a big Isaiah Pacheco guy. If Rojo didn't make the team, I think he would be more exciting. Okay, yeah, but this is a $3 draft. I'm sure y'all saw the link in the live chat. It's a $3 draft here. Obviously, everybody got in. Dark Horse out here drafting with this at 11. We got NFL Blitz out here again. Jelly Pump out here every single night. Icklewick, long-time member of the flock. M. North Shore out here, I believe, either last night or the night before. Mute Bars, I believe, was out here last night as well. So we got a lot of regulars out here. Thank you so much, guys, for coming. And we have Razor Sharp coming out. Says 10-team half PPR shallow redraft league. You're going to go Lamar Jackson, Michael Pittman, Terry McLaurin, Joe Mixon, Aaron Jones, Pitts, Hollywood, Michael Thomas, Gordon, Ayuk, Chris Olave. Oh my gosh, I like the fact that we have a decent sized roster here. So if we are looking at making any moves in particular, this is very boring for me to say. I think you have a great roster top to bottom. And what I specifically like to see here is the bench. What are we doing on the bench? Swinging for the fences, really looking for those high upside players. Olave, James Cook, Treylon Burks, Brandon Ayuk, Melvin Gordon. It's in the range of outcomes for those guys to be top 12 at their respective positions if things break right. If I was going to say anything, maybe just because we have Lamar Jackson, if we can go through and package one of these bench wide receivers with Kyle Pitts and go get Mark Andrews, that'd make a lot of sense. But you know, I'm a big Kyle Pitts fan anyway. Carly says, do you think Deanna and J Cross will be a thing again? I crunched the numbers and I would say highly unlikely. I crunched the numbers. Highly unlikely, my friend. I'm sorry to give that bad news. Okay. Now we have Austin Eckler sneaking his way into 5 here. We have Justin Jefferson going at 2. But what we have going on in this draft, really cool pattern. Running back, receiver, running back, receiver, running back, receiver, running back, receiver, running back. NFL Blitz has to mess it up. If they can't take Devontae Adams and continue to get us this cool pattern, it would have been beautiful to just see that back and forth green and orange through the rest of the draft. But it is what it is. Y'all know I'm not going to make fun of anybody for going through and taking Joe Mixon. Now, of course, if y'all want to join our next draft, we're drafting on Underdog Fantasy. This is where we draft every single night. We do like 3 or 4 of these on the live stream every single night. You can stream. You can draft with us on the stream. You can draft in the public lobby, draft with your friends. They're best balls, so it's no extra time commitment at all for you. And when you sign up for Underdog Fantasy, use promo code FLOCK. They're going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. You're going to get our 2022 Fantasy Football Draft Guide. You're going to get our 2022 Fantasy Football Rankings. And, of course, most importantly, most importantly, you're going to be able to draft with us on the 24-hour stream, which I desperately need you to. I'm imagining that this 24-hour live stream, we're going to have like, I don't think we're going to have that many people watching. Like, maybe like the total views on the stream is going to be pretty large, but 2-3 hours in of watching a live stream, I'd imagine most people are going to be done with us at that point. Okay. So we have Najee Harris off the board here at 14. CeeDee Lamb goes 13. I really like the start of Devontae Adams and Najee Harris. I mean, if y'all remember, Najee Harris used to be a player that would go at pick 9 consistently. You never saw him falling this far, but really, I haven't seen him go in the first round in a long time. Reezy coming out. Thank you, my friend. Says, in a 10-team keeper league, full PPR, double flex, we're picking at the 101. Do you prefer McCaffrey, Kupp, or Austin Eckler? Taylor being kept by my league mate. I keep Justin Jefferson for the second round pick. Go ahead, take CMC. Take CMC. It's a 10-team league. I know you have 2 flex spots, but still, at the end of the day, we're chasing the highest ceiling possible. I'm not one of the people that say that Christian McCaffrey should be the 101. I understand injuries are mainly random in fantasy football. I'll definitely say I do prefer Jonathan Taylor's security over what we're going to have with Christian McCaffrey. But outside of Jonathan Taylor, I don't think there's a better option in fantasy than Christian McCaffrey. Because the thing is, if CMC stays healthy, he wins fantasy football leagues, and there's no arguments at all about that. If he stays healthy, you need him to win your league. 29 points per game. 29 points per game in 2019. But after we go Taylor, we have a run on running backs here. You got Leonard Fournette going off the board, 21. Let's swing this back around. I'd imagine we probably end up going receivers here. Maybe we mix it up. See what Mute Bars decides to do. Justin Jefferson in the first 4 Mute Bars. Nick Chubb. Yeah, so, I mean, at this point, we have nothing other than receivers that we can go with. We're going to go ahead. We're going to take Tyreek Hill and Mike Evans at the 2-3 turn. Obviously, Mike Evans has been a big-time follower as of late with the reports that we're getting about Chris Godwin's health. At the same time, Mike Evans dealt with some injuries during training camp. We had Tom Brady missing time, which, of course, isn't great. But still, this was a player that used to go at the 1-2 turn. Now we're getting him at the 2-3 turn. I'll be fine going through taking Mike Evans at this price tag. And now Nick coming out. Thank you, my friend, says, 12-team PPR format. At the 104, we got Russ, CMC. I guess actually in our casual redraft league, it's not surprising to see CMC fall to 4. We have Aaron Jones, Mike Evans, Mike Williams, Dalton Schultz, Jerry Jeudy. And then down there on the bench, we have Chris Olave, Damian Pierce, Brian Robinson, George Pickens, McCole Hardman, Isaiah McKenzie, Kenneth Gainwell. Let me know what you think. Okay, so let's go through and let's plan. First thing we're looking to do, even though I have Mike Williams, I think ranked 2 spots before Courtland Sutton. Like if you have Jerry Jeudy, I probably prefer just going through and trading Mike Williams for Courtland Sutton, getting that double stack in here with Jerry Jeudy, Sutton, and Russ. Beyond that, I feel like on the bench, let me know what y'all think about this. So if you're looking at like underdog fantasy, a best ball format where you have to go so deep, you have to draft 18 rounds, there are no waivers. If Isaiah McKenzie is this year's Cole Beasley, Isaiah McKenzie is a fantastic pick. He's a fantastic guy to have on your team based on the raw amount of targets he's going to be getting in a great offense. But from a casual redraft perspective, will Isaiah McKenzie be special compared to anything else you could find on the waiver wire? Even if he is Cole Beasley. Because Cole Beasley, last year, he was very good on underdog. He was very good in these deep best ball formats. But it's not like Cole Beasley was ever someone that you were getting excited about going through and plugging in a shallow redraft league. So what I would say is, yes, Isaiah McKenzie is probably the best option that you're going to have compared to guys on the waiver wire if we're just looking at their median projections. But at the same time, I think we just kind of want to be chasing the highest ceiling possible. And I don't necessarily know if we are getting that truly elite level ceiling from Isaiah McKenzie, if that makes sense. Let me know. And Trey says, how many leagues do you normally play in per year? So in terms of leagues where we actually have to work the waiver wire, submit starting lineups, I'm in about 25 dynasty leagues. And that's been the case pretty much since like 2016, I want to say. We started playing dynasty in 2014. But now with Underdog Fantasy, because they're best ball, because you don't have to submit a starting lineup, you don't do waivers throughout the season. Over the past 2, I've been in a couple hundred leagues each year. Like this year, I'm probably going to be in about 750 leagues if you include underdog best ball leagues. But remember, when you're drafting on underdog, you're not replacing the leagues. You're not replacing your favorite leagues. Instead, what you're doing is you're just adding additional ones on because it takes no time during the season. So if you're looking at leagues that I actually have to submit a starting lineup with, I actually have to work during the season, probably going to add on like 1 to 2 regular redraft. We're going to have all those dynasty. So I'd say probably about 25 to be conservative. But if you include the best ball leagues, way more than that. I don't know if you want to include the best ball ones, though. Okay. So now we have Jerry Jeudy, Hollywood Brown here, 42, 43. Hollywood Brown used to go a lot earlier in these drafts as well. Like, it is surprising to see Hollywood Brown fall as much as he has been. Okay, Breece Hall goes 44. Interesting to see that Ickelwick decides to go no wide receivers through the first 4. Deontay Johnson off the board, 46. I think that we go ahead. We grab the elite level quarterback here in Lamar. But beyond that, I'm honestly not a massive fan of taking these receivers over what we'll have with the elite tight ends. We're going to go through. We're going to take Darren Waller. Now, I recently did move up George Kittle in our rankings above Darren Waller, but that was when Darren Waller was missing practice. That's when we were concerned about Darren Waller missing the beginning portion of the season, not knowing exactly what's going on in Las Vegas. Obviously, it looks like the situation's just been smoothed out in Las Vegas. We don't really have to worry about it. So I think we can move Darren Waller back to where we were drafting him previously. I will be fine taking him here at pick 49. But Veeden coming out, thank you, my friend, says, 12-team half PPR league where we got Jalen Hurts, Alvin Kamara, Nick Chubb, Devontae Adams, Chris Godwin, Darren Waller, Michael Thomas, and then on the bench, we have A.J. Dillon, Brandon Ayuk, Trey Lance, George Pickens, James Cook, Alexander Madison, and Alec Pierce. I really like the team. What I'm not necessarily too excited about is looking at Alec Pierce. Now, in a vacuum, I really like going through and rostering these rookies that have wide ranges of outcomes, that if things break right, they could be league winners. But at the same time, if we look at the Alec Pierce profile, he doesn't necessarily profile to be like a target hog from a fantasy football context. It looks like he's going to be that field stretching option in Indianapolis, where I don't necessarily know what the actual ceiling is going to be on a guy like Alec Pierce. So I would look to the waiver wire to see if we have a better option here. Now, I think we can do one or two things. I think what is probably going to end up happening is you're not going to get the price point you deserve if you were to go through and trade away Trey Lance. So I think we're going to have to wait to see a couple elite weeks out of Jalen Hurts from a fantasy football context. And then say Jalen Hurts goes out there and crushes the Detroit Lions week 1. Then I think we go and look to sell Jalen Hurts high. We look to package him with, say, a wide receiver like Michael Thomas and get a truly elite level option in here. That way we can go through and you can start Trey Lance every single week. Like, you shouldn't be worried about starting Lance every week. And we have a question saying, what do the shields mean? Essentially, once you get in 500 underdog drafts, you have the white and black shield. Once you get in 1,000 underdog drafts, you have the red and black shield. I don't know if in that 24-hour live stream we will get the red and black. I don't remember exactly how many drafts we did last year. Last I counted, I think that this offseason we've done like 655, where we should pass like 700 for this offseason during that 24-hour live stream. Okay. So now we have Dalton Schultz off the board, 61. We used to see Dalton Schultz here. Big Willie coming out here and just going crazy with it, taking Joe Burrow and Dalton Schultz. I don't know the last time we saw Joe Burrow go before Kyler Murray. I don't remember that ever happening. Now here, I definitely remember a portion of the offseason where you were getting Dalton Schultz off the board at 61. I always thought that was crazy. I was never really advocating for people to go ahead and take Dalton Schultz here. But very interesting. Anthony says, I got my $300 redraft league coming up in 2 hours. Time for some practice. I mean, hope you hop in a draft with us here. And nothing better to practice than a $3 draft to prepare for that $300 draft. But nonetheless, I am wishing you the best of luck, my friend. Definitely good luck on that. Okay. So Darnell Mooney, Alan Lazard. Darnell Mooney falling here to 67. Very interesting to see that. Let's slide this over. We have a couple of running backs falling that I know that people are probably going to want us to take. Lance off the board, 65. I guess that's to the Deebo Samuel team, so that makes sense. We were seeing Trey Lance go here a lot, like 2 weeks ago, but once you get the Jimmy Garoppolo contract, you've actually seen Trey Lance falling back to being a pick at like the beginning of the 7th round instead of having to take him at the beginning of the 6th. But clearly he goes in the 7th. Now we have Russell Wilson off the board. I mean, I'm not going to complain. We are not necessarily looking for Russ here. Okay. I like what we're going to get. I like what we're getting. We're just going to take 2 of Elijah Moore, Brandon Ayuk, or Elijah Mitchell, whoever was left. We're going to go ahead. We're going to take Elijah Moore and Brandon Ayuk. Now, if we were playing in a league that was not best ball on Underdog Fantasy, I would not be taking Brandon Ayuk over Dameon Pierce. I probably wouldn't even be taking Elijah Moore over Dameon Pierce if we were playing in a casual redraft format. But on Underdog, you have to start 3 wide receivers. It's best ball. So let's go through. Let's take the 2 best values on the board. It's funny that you used to be able to have Brandon Ayuk a lot later on. Like we talked about this earlier on in the live stream. Literally, I was just looking at our first $500 draft of the offseason, and we ended up getting Brandon Ayuk picked like 93. Like 20 picks after this. And what's funny is, hell, we took him at 73 here, and this is still behind his ADP. Like Brandon Ayuk used to go so much, and I repeat, so much later than this. Now we have Tom Brady off the board, 76. Josh says, are you worried about the fact that Dameon Pierce has had less than 10 carries a game for most of his senior season? Personally, I'm trying to sell my casual redraft leagues right now. So I think that if you're looking at production for running backs in college versus production for wide receivers in college, coming into the NFL, wide receiver production is significantly more predictive of success at the NFL level than what you're going to have with running backs. With that being said, we've proven this in our Dynasty Rookie Draft Guide, looking back historically, what correlates at the running back position that honestly doesn't even correlate at wide receiver is going to be NFL draft capital, is going to be athleticism, receiving down usage in college, size, and situations that they landed. I think that with Dameon Pierce, he can very easily is most likely the starting running back in Houston. I'm not as worried about the fact that he had like 10 carries a game in college, because you have seen running backs and come from college, not really have the workload then, and all of a sudden break out at the NFL level. Like, I'm not that concerned about it. But I'm concerned about some other things on his profile. I agree. I think it's a good thing to go through and sell Dameon Pierce where you can, because I have seen people taking Dameon Pierce before like David Montgomery. And if we're looking at Dameon Pierce versus David Montgomery, like we've already seen David Montgomery be hyper productive in a very bad situation in Chicago, where we don't necessarily know if that's going to be the case when it comes to Dameon Pierce. Hunter Renfrow off the board, 84. What are we looking for? I guess at this point, like, it is probably about time for us to bring in some more running backs. At this point, we only have Jonathan Taylor. Still, I think we are going to be fine based on the running back value that you can get later on on Underdog in particular. Like here, you're seeing Clyde Edwards-Helaire go pick 87. We had Cordell Patterson making it back to us in the 10th round in the last draft. So I'm not too worried about what we're going to have at running back. I think we are going to find decent value. It just comes down to who is it actually going to be. Okay, so Tony off the board. Let's swing this back around. So once Tony's off, like, that's great value on Tony. You used to not be able to get Tony there. A couple of weeks ago, Tony would go closer to the beginning of the 7th. What's his ADP now? I guess he fell 2 picks past his ADP, but yeah, very rarely would you see Tony in the 8th round a few weeks back. You got Robert Woods, Drake London off the board. I am beginning to get more worried about Drake London, as we were talking about earlier, now that we are looking at him yet again missing practice. He hasn't practiced since he suffered the knee injury week 1. I think that it's going to be a much bigger deal for that rookie to be missing practice than what we would see with like a Robert Woods if he was missing practice himself. Chris Olave off the board. Okay, so Rashad Penny's off. At this point, what? I guess I don't want to say it out loud. We're about to be on the clock. Obviously, these people right before us are watching us. This team already had 4 running backs. Yeah, I guess they couldn't go with another one. They had to grab that wide receiver in Marquez Valdez-Scantling. I think we probably end up, plus, let's see what Mubarges does. They have Patrick Mahomes. I think they're almost guaranteed to go Sky Moore. Yeah, I think this team with Patrick Mahomes is almost guaranteed to go Sky Moore here. Let's see. Sky Moore. I think we're going to go back-to-back running back. I was more concerned about taking Miles Sanders when he was still dealing with this like a mysterious hamstring injury where we didn't necessarily know when he was going to be coming back in. But now that Miles Sanders is back in practice, let's go ahead. Let's take him at the beginning of the 8th round. We're getting running backs that should have roles on a week-to-week basis that are both playing behind top 3 offensive lines in the NFL. I think you can make the argument that maybe Philadelphia has the best offensive line in the NFL. Cleveland has the 2nd best offensive line in the NFL. So let's go through. Let's take both the running backs here. And of course, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on the live stream. Helps us out so much. And guys, come on. If you're not dropping a like on the live stream, what are you doing? We're doing a 24-hour live stream on Monday. Most people, it's a big deal to stream 5-6 hours. We stream 4 hours on a regular basis every single night without a single night off. On top of this, we're throwing a 24-hour stream in the mix on Monday. Now, Damian Harris off the board, 99. My opinion, I don't even think Damian Harris is in the same tier of what we're going to be looking at with Miles Sanders, with Kareem Hunt here, just given the fact that with Damian Harris in particular, he's a running back that is legitimately never, and I repeat, ever going to be used as a pass catcher in New England, at least based on what we've seen so far through the first 3 years of his NFL career. So don't exactly know what the ceiling is going to be on a guy like Damian Harris. Where I think we are going to have a very high ceiling with Hunt and Miles Sanders if things break right. If things break right. Now, Traylon Burks finally off the board. And Dalton says Team 1 looking nice. My man. Have we ever gone through a draft and not had the best team at the end of it? I don't know if that's ever happened. Of course I'm joking. Maybe once out of every 20 drafts, we'll have a good one. One draft out of every 20 or so for us will be a good draft. Okay. So now we have Derek Carr off the board, 107. I guess this is back-to-back drafts now. I mean, we passed on Dak Prescott, so we contributed to this. But this is back-to-back drafts where Dak Prescott's fallen into the same round as Derek Carr. Oh, very interesting to see him fall this far. Very, very interesting. Okay, so we have a couple tight ends going on with Dawson Knox and Cole Kmet. Now, y'all know I've been very adamant that I've hated the Dawson Knox value for a very long time now. But at the same time, if I'm going to be fair, I think that he is more appealing now. He's definitely more appealing now when there's no O.J. Howard on this team. You were never expecting O.J. Howard to come out here and be the tight end 1 over Dawson Knox, but Maybe it's just because I was an O.J. Howard fan coming out of Alabama back in 2017. I thought that he could have a role in Buffalo. So I guess maybe you are more excited about Dawson Knox. I would say I'm still not drafting him in this range outside of teams where we have Josh Allen. We have Josh Allen. Sure, you can go through. You can take Dawson Knox here. I'm still probably not excited about it. Kirk Cousins off the board. Good for us. We're not looking for Cousins. Devin Singletary falling a considerable amount, as well as Zach Ertz. Couple different options we could be looking at. I mean, I'm not necessarily going to try to force any Baltimore stacks here. Like we've said a million times in the live stream at this point, when you take Lamar Jackson, when you take Jalen Hurts, I don't necessarily think that you have to force a stack in because you are betting on the rushing upside. Don't necessarily need passing volume there in their offense for them to just be an elite level asset in fantasy. Okay. Julio Jones off the board, 117. Chase Claypool goes. Zach Ertz off. We're definitely taking Garrett Wilson. The question with Kenneth Walker, where if we were drafting in a tournament style draft on Underdog, if you were drafting in a league where you're just trying to optimize for the fantasy football playoffs, I really like taking Kenneth Walker here. However, specifically, if we are going to be looking at this league where it's just cumulative scoring weeks 1 through 17, since this is a private draft, I feel like it's much harder to take him. Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's take him. I mean, he's our fourth running back here. We have Jonathan Taylor, Kareem Hunt, Miles Sanders. Let's recap this draft for anybody just now coming in here. So in the first round, we go Jonathan Taylor. I mean, obviously nothing to talk about here. At least let me know if you think we need to talk about this. And then after that, we go Tyreek Hill, Mike Evans, the 2-3 turn. Then we go Lamar Jackson, Darren Waller, Elijah Moore, Brandon Ayuk, and knowing that we're going to be able to find strong running back value in the coming rounds. Then we get Kareem Hunt, Miles Sanders, Garrett Wilson, Kenneth Walker. Okay. Let's swing this. Team Zero Gaming coming out. Thank you, my friend. Says, rate the squad 1 through 10. Starters, Joe Burrow, quarterback. We got Saquon Barkley, Nick Chubb, Robert Woods, Brandon Cooks, Deontay Johnson, Tyler Higbee. Okay, what are we talking about? Our starters being Robert Woods and then telling me we got Jalen Waddle on the bench. I was about to say, this is a pretty bad wide receiver core, my friend. But no, we got Jalen Waddle on the bench. We have Devin Singletary, Jacoby Myers, McCole Hardman as well. Not going to lie to you, I don't love this team. Assuming that this is a 10 or a 12 team format. Like, we're looking at Joe Burrow as an option that, yes, of course, is an elite real-life NFL quarterback. But at the same time, it's hard to say that in particular if we are going to be looking about him for fantasy football purposes. Because from a fantasy football perspective, he's going to give you just absolutely no rushing production in the slightest. If we are going to roster Joe Burrow, if we are going to make that bet on the quarterback, I probably would want some of his passing down options as well. I would love a T. Higgins. I would love a Jamar Chase. Okay, Team Zero says 12-team league. Okay, 12-team league. The issue is, too, I mean, I feel like we're not necessarily that strong at receiver and we just punted tight end. Maybe what I think we should do is go through and drop Jacoby Myers. Try to pick up another tight end off the waiver wire, whether that's Albert O, whether that's Robert Tonyan, Noah Fant, just a tight end that you think has some upside. Because what's going to have to happen is we are going to have to find a way to hit on tight end here. If we can hit on tight end, then sure, we are going to be fine. But I don't think we have the elite receivers, the elite running backs to get the job done without having a respectable tight end. But to be honest with you, I think that you can find that tight end off the waiver wire. I mean, we've talked about this before. I think the tight end position is very simple, where you either go and get that elite level guy, you go and get someone like a Kyle Pitts, and if you don't get him, then we're just going to look to punt until the very end like you did with Tyler Higbee. But I think if we wait and punt until the very end, we probably want to be rostering 2 of them. Okay, so Devontae Parker off the board, 133. And we have Tua Tagovailoa off the board, 135. Let's swing this back around. I mean, we're not dying to grab running backs here where we have Jonathan Taylor, Kareem Hunt, Miles Sanders, Kenneth Walker. I think this is a super balanced team. We have the elite quarterback, Lamar Jackson. We have Tyreek, Mike Evans, Elijah Moore, Brandon Ayuk, Garrett Wilson. We have Darren Waller at tight end. This team has no particular needs. I think it just is, what's the best value that makes it back to us? I think Albert O is more appealing now that Greg Dulcich is hitting the IR. So I think, I don't want to say it out loud. It looks like a lot of these teams before us don't have a tight end yet. So maybe we see them go tight end and we end up having to take a wide receiver. Jalen Tolbert goes off the board 138. It is nice to see Jalen Tolbert falling in these drafts. Like where Tolbert was being drafted previously, it was disgusting. X Broman coming out with a massive donation. Thank you so much, my friend. Says 10-team full PPR. I got Jalen Hurts, Aaron Jones, Travis Etienne, Stephon Diggs, A.J. Brown, Michael Thomas, Darren Waller, Kadarius Toney, A.J. Dillon, Ayuk, Garrett Wilson, Christian Watson, Tolbert, Isaiah Pacheco, Noah Fant, Zamir White. Any trade recommendations? A third year in the flock, been top 2 each year. Thanks for winning me $200, my guy. No, thank you so much for coming out, hanging out with us and supporting the stream, my friend. So at this point, I would say probably don't need to make a move at quarterback. We have Jalen Hurts. We have the elite level option paired up with this top pass catcher in A.J. Brown. Of course, you need to be ecstatic about that. We have another wide receiver 1 in Stephon Diggs here. We have a running back 1 in Aaron Jones. We have a high upside guy with Travis Etienne. We had the elite tight end with Darren Waller. And then down there on the bench, this is what we talk about all the time. On the bench, we just seem to be going through and chasing the highest ceiling possible that we can have because you're probably going to cut a lot of these guys anyway. So down there on the bench, primarily focusing in on guys like Zamir White, Christian Watson, Jalen Tolbert. I think that's fantastic, my man. Great team. Great draft in general. I wish I could come out here and tell you to do something. Maybe try to trade Brandon Ayuk for Devonta Smith if you can. If you can do that, sure, get the double stack in there, Jalen Hurts. But in reality, I don't think you have to do anything. Okay. So let's swing this back around. Team Zero Gaming says they got Najee Harris for Josh Allen. If this team has Najee Harris, it's going to be a lot more appealing. But in your message, I did not see Najee Harris. If that team has Najee Harris, great team. Like if you just add Najee Harris to that roster, fantastic team. Okay, so we have KJ Hamler off the board at 148. Once we take Irv Smith Jr. here to pair him up with Darren Waller, we are not going to be taking another running back. I'm sorry, we're not going to be taking another tight end after that. We are just going to be completely fine at the position. David Njoku goes 148. Yeah, good thing for us to see these tight ends after this. So we have Raheem Mostert. Okay, Raheem sliding up these boards. I mean, not sliding up, skyrocketing up these draft boards at this point. I mean, which he should. He should. Like, y'all know I'm not a massive Raheem Mostert fan, but at the same time, I mean, if Sony Michel's cut, he's more exciting. It's coming from someone who doesn't even like the guy. I mean, I don't know the guy, but I'm saying I didn't like his price point. I think that he is overrated in general. So we have Tyler Algier here off the board at 153. I honestly don't like picking here at the end, like all the way at 1, because I just feel like we're sitting here waiting for so long. Let's check out some interesting drafts that we've had. So I want to look at Icklewick. This was a team that decided to punt wide receiver, to go with the hyper fragile build at running back, to take Austin Eckler over Jamar Chase. Personally, that's something that I'm never deciding to do. I think that you go through, you take Jamar Chase on underdog. It's easy. I don't think you think twice about it. But Austin Eckler, Aaron Jones, Breece Hall at running back, Kyle Pitts at tight end through the first 4 rounds. And then after that, of course, you're playing catch up on wide receiver. I mean, you go out there, you go out of your way to try to get the elite level running backs, to get the elite level tight end, and you just have to accept the fact that we're going to be underweight at wide receiver. So then afterwards, they go Brandon Cooks, Adam Thielen. I love the Devonta Smith pick there at 77. Chris Olave makes it you at 92. Usually Chris Olave doesn't fall this far either. Goes Cordell Patterson, 101. Rondell Moore, 116. Is Justin Fields' picks intriguing? If we're looking at the wide receivers that would have been available, could have potentially had a Jahan Dotson. I think you add Jahan Dotson to this team, it's going to be significantly better in terms of the upside you could have down the stretch of in the wide receiver core, which is something that you need in particular. Then afterwards, DJ Chark, 140. David Njoku, 149. It's an interesting squad to pass on wide receiver through the first 4. It's definitely interesting. Okay, so let's move this down. We got Jamal Williams, 162. Tyler Higbee, 163. What are we going to do at the 14-15 turn here? Galladay off the board, 165. I think that we can go through. We can take a quarterback if we were to want to at this point, but at the same time, like, what quarterback would even be intriguing? Isaiah Spiller goes 166. Interesting to see Spiller go here. Gesicki off the board as well. Do we just go through? Do we just grab Khalil Herbert? I mean, Herbert falling to pick 168. I've never been a massive Khalil Herbert fan at his price tag. Is this what we decided to do? Of course, if this was a regular tournament style draft on Underdog, we go Jameson Williams for the ceiling weeks 15, 16, 17. But here in this league in particular, it's cumulative scoring, so we're not playing into the elite level ceiling we could have in the second half of the season. It's going to be very difficult for Jameson Williams to get there, missing 11 weeks in this format. So let's go ahead. Let's take Khalil Herbert and Marvin Jones. I think you make the argument for J.D. McKissic as well. I mean, I've just not been drafting Herbert much at all, so whenever we get him this late, I feel like we kind of have to go ahead and take him. But if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like in the live stream. If we hit 500 likes in the stream, we are going to go through and fire up a third draft after this. If not, no worries at all. No worries at all. I'll be happy to save my voice for Monday because I am still very worried about that. Even though I did get a lot of people lined up to come on the live stream and draft with us on Monday, so I can try to save my voice as much as I possibly can. But now we have Jameson Williams off the board at 171. But Joe says, thoughts on DJ Moore in the third round? I love me some DJ Moore. I mean, we've talked about DJ Moore all offseason. I would say if we were looking at DJ Moore, he's going to be more appealing in a PPR format than he would be in a non-PPR or a half PPR league. You're never expecting him to have the elite touchdown ceiling, even with the upgrade at quarterback. I definitely want to say that Baker Mayfield is a clear upgrade over what you would have elsewhere. Yeah, but I think he's fine in a PPR league. Non-PPR, it's just going to be brutal. Trent Fletcher Band, happy to see you out here, my friend, says, hey, Mason, send you an email about not being able to see the rankings or draft guide at my Dynasty startup tomorrow. If you could help me out, 100%, I'll go through. I will check that email out for you, my friend. Maybe after this live stream. Depends how long we are live tonight. Maybe we can go through and look at the emails tonight. If not, definitely by the morning. Thank you so much, though. Okay, so we have a couple tight ends going off the board here with Noah Fant and Hayden Hurst. As I've already discussed, I know that this is a disgusting matchup. I mean, it's a disgusting situation for Noah Fant. You're dealing with DK Metcalf. The same time, you're going to go ahead and you're going to have to deal with Tyler Lockett and the worst quarterback play in the entire NFL. But come on. Come on. It's Noah Fant. You get Noah Fant after guys like Austin Hooper, Hayden Hurst, Evan Ingram. I love Noah Fant in this price point. Okay. Looks like just 5 more likes in the live stream. We're going to go through. We're going to fire up a third draft after this one. We have Jerick McKinnon off the board. I think we're just going to make our 2 next picks, and then we're going to bounce from this draft. We'll finish the draft out on our phone with our 18th round pick, and we'll set up another draft for everybody here. So, of course, if you want to get in that next draft, go to the link in the description. Go to the link in the live chat. Go sign up for Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code FLOCK when you sign up for Underdog. They'll match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to 100. You'll get our 2022 fantasy football rankings. We'll get our 2022 fantasy football draft guide as well. We got Tannehill and Sammy Watkins off the board. So is Eno Benjamin, let me know in the live chat right now, is it official Eno's the running back 2 in Arizona? Is this like 100% locked in? I mean, obviously people are drafting as if it is. But is it a 100% guarantee that Eno Benjamin's at running back 2 in Arizona over Darrell Henderson? I'm sorry, over Darrell Williams. Okay. So Mac Jones off the board at 189. Corey Davis goes. We're not interested in any tight ends, I guess. Yeah, I think we're going to go ahead. We're probably just going to pull the trigger on a quarterback here. We only have 1 QB. Obviously, we're going to have to draft 2 of these guys, the very minimum. I think we do need another wide receiver as well. I mean, we only had 2 wide receivers through the first 5 rounds. Let's go ahead. Let's draft our guy in David Bell. And with Deshaun Watson, I'm drafting Deshaun Watson on Underdog, where we are in those tournament-style drafts for weeks 15, 16, 17. But in particular, if we were just going to be drafting in these private drafts, I don't think you can take someone that's going to miss the first 11 weeks. So in a tournament-style draft, I take Deshaun Watson here, and I'm jumping up and down with excitement for the pick, given the ceiling I'll have in the second stretch of the year. But no, here we can't. Here we can't. Okay. Let's scroll this down. We're showing off this entire draft board, and then we are going to go through. We are going to set up another draft for y'all. So just look in the live chat. It's going to say $3 draft here, and then there'll be a private draft link. You click it, and you're in. You click it, and you're in. That's simple. Don't have to do anything else with it. Grab this link. Okay, we just sent that out there in the live chat. I'm assuming that's going to fill. Okay, hopefully we don't get the 101 again. Hopefully we get like the 105. That way we can pick often. We don't just sit here twiddling our thumbs forever. Oh, okay, you got to be kidding me, right? This is some kind of cruel joke. This is some kind of cruel joke. Wanting to pick in the middle so we could pick often. Said don't give us the 101 again. So Underdog said, LOL, bet. We got you. We got you. Instead, you can pick at the 112. The worst spot to pick at this year, in my opinion, at least on Underdog. This is just the most beautiful spot ever to be in. Sorry, brutal, not beautiful. The exact opposite. And I'm assuming Icklewick is at 7 as well. See if Icklewick decides to go through and do the same start they had in the last one, where they punt wide receiver through the first 4 rounds. Preezy says, I got the 109. Robbie says he's at pick 3. Dylan, let me know what pick you're at. I see that you're in here as well. Riz is out here. Okay, I see Riz out here at pick 4. Okay, so JT off the board at 1. Let's see if anybody goes crazy. I felt like we had some off-the-wall picks in that last draft in the first round. Fernando says, should I pick up Deshaun Watson if he's on waivers in my league? Not if you have to keep him on your bench. If you're playing in a shallow redraft league and you'd have to hold Deshaun Watson on your bench for 11 weeks. Oh, no. If you could pick him up and slide him into your IR, sure, do it. But if you're playing in a shallow redraft format, if he's going to limit you from actually being able to make quality moves with your waiver wire options, we're not going to be able to pick him up and just hold him onto the bench. It would be such a wasted roster spot. Now, Dalvin Cook off the board at 8. Let's see what we're going to be looking at here. Stephon Diggs goes 9. I don't even know what to expect. I know a lot of smart people are taking CeeDee Lamb here. Personally, that's not me. Let's go ahead. Let's take Travis Kelce, Najee Harris. I understand that there are serious red flags with the Najee Harris profile, but at the same time, you're looking at this as a running back that was like number 1 in the NFL in snap rate last year. Number 1 in the NFL in snap rate, and at the same time, he's going into year 2. We're not having to worry about the age 27 fall off as we would with other positions. I think we're going to be fine. Now, Kamara Barkley off the board. At this point, obviously, we're really hoping we get wide receiver value on the way back. But we can find some wide receivers on the way back around. I mean, I think that we should be able to go through and get someone like a Cortland Sutton. Y'all know my favorite wide receiver. If that doesn't happen, we can still go through. We can get Terry McLaurin and Jerry Jeudy. No issues. Crap, we are on the clock with our last pick in that other one. Let's make sure we're not going to auto pick on that. Yeah, if we would have auto picked Odell Beckham Jr., that would have been pretty damn tough. Okay, but we got Deebo Samuel off the board 19. I have noticed that Deebo Samuel with the bone bruise has been falling as of late. Like, recently we got Deebo Samuel, I believe, pick 22 in the first draft of the live stream. And in one of those high stakes drafts that we did a couple nights ago, we ended up getting Deebo Samuel like pick 24. We were able to go Jonathan Taylor and like Deebo Samuel through the first 2 rounds, which was very exciting. Let me see. I have not checked how many subscribers we've had in a while, but I bet we're about to hit 89,000. And yeah, so, I mean, we've gone through, we've already scheduled the 24-hour live stream for Monday because it's guaranteed. I think that something crazy would have to happen if we did not hit 90,000 subs by Monday. But yeah, it looks like we may actually hit 89,000 subscribers on this live stream. If you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like in the live stream, subscribe to the channel. If you want to draft with us tonight or in that 24-hour live stream on Monday, make sure you go sign up for Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code FLOCK when you sign up, and you'll get our 2022 fantasy football rankings. You'll get our 2022 fantasy football draft guide. Of course, you'll be able to draft with us every single night on the live stream. You'll be able to check out some player props, and most importantly, you will also, please draft with us in that 24-hour live stream. I know there are going to be more than enough people to come out here and draft with us every single night in the regular like 3-4 hour streams. But I don't know if we're going to have enough people in that 24-hour one to make it through. Carly coming out says, Flock, I try to donate every day. Love the content. No, thank you so much, Carly. I know you're out here in every single live stream. Thank you so much. And I'm sorry about Daniela. I believe that was her name. Obviously, I know you're trolling, though, my friend. Now we have Keenan Allen off the board here. Keenan Allen would have been like the perfect guy to make it back to us. If we would have had Keenan Allen making it back on a Travis Kelce, Najee Harris build out the gate, we would have been very excited about this. Let's swing this back around. Oh, dear God. Is Mike Williams going to fall to us? No, Mike Williams doesn't. I think we have to go ahead. I think we have to reach on some wide receivers here. We're going to take Hollywood Brown and Terry McLaurin. I know that the running backs in this range are going to be higher in our rankings, but at the same time, Trust me, guys, we're going to get crazy running back value later on. We kind of have to take the wide receivers in a league where you have to start 3 of these guys. And now Adam coming out says, rate my team out of 10, where we got Josh Allen, Austin Eckler, Javonte Williams, Jamar Chase, Mike Williams, George Kittle, Allen Robinson, Darnell Mooney, Cam Akers, Garrett Wilson, Traylon Burks, Melvin Gordon, Kenneth Walker. Love this team. Love this team because specifically on the bench, we're chasing high upside guys. We have the elite tight end. We have the elite quarterback. It's a 10-team league. I think that's exactly what we're going to be looking for in a shallow format. Love the squad. If we were to do anything with this build, we'd probably go through and try to package together, say like Mike Williams and Cam Akers, or Mike Williams and Allen Robinson, or Mike Williams and Darnell Mooney. Really any package of those 2 guys. And if we could come away with Stephon Diggs, I think that'd make a ton of sense to have that correlation in with Josh Allen. Right now, I think that you can easily say that this team's like an 8 out of 10. I think it'd be like a 9 or a 10 out of 10 if we could get Stephon Diggs on it. And Easy Eddie coming out here, a long time member of the flock, says, what's good? You know my point system. In a 12-team league, 1.5 points per reception, 2 point. Okay. 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 receivers, tight end, and a flex. I'm picking 11, running back, or a wide receiver, running back, wide receiver, tight end. Thinking Kamara and Swift. Okay. Eddie, can you please remind me? This is what I think your point system is, if I'm remembering correctly. If y'all don't know, Easy Eddie, a long time member of the flock's been out here with us pretty much every single live stream for 2 years now. If I'm remembering correctly, it's a 1.5 points per reception for wide receiver and 2 points per reception for running back, or do I have that backwards? Something weird. Carly says, what should I do about Deanna? Advice, please. I'm assuming you're trolling me, my friend, but if you are under the age of 20, say forget her. It doesn't matter. If you're over the age of 20, I think you'll know what to do. I think you'll be able to figure it out. Okay, so Easy Eddie says we had it flipped. 1.5 points per reception for running back and 2 points per reception for wide receiver. In this format in particular, I think that you need to be flexing a wide receiver every single week. So I would love to go through, if we're picking out 11 and we can get like Devontae Adams and Stephon Diggs on the 1-2 turn, I'm actually probably going to be going through and targeting that. Now, of course, if you wanted to go running back, I think you're right with the running backs that you want in a league where you're getting that additional 0.5 point per reception for the running back position. I think you do go with an Alvin Kamara. You do go with the DeAndre Swift. You go with an Aaron Jones, someone that should be seeing consistent targets out of the backfield. Now, your George Kittle off the board, 48. Let me know what y'all think about this in the live chat right now. So I had Darren Waller ranked above George Kittle all offseason. And then once we had Darren Waller looking like it's not a practice over and over and over again. He drops his agent. We have no idea what's going on. I went through and moved George Kittle ahead of him. But Darren Waller's back at practice. Looks like everything's good to go. So are you still going to go through? Are you drafting George Kittle or Darren Waller now? In the last draft, we could have chosen either one of these guys, and we took Darren Waller over George Kittle. Let me know what you're thinking. So Waller 52. Okay, so it looks like most people are saying Kittle. But what's weird is literally if we go back all offseason is except the past week, Darren Waller's had a higher ADP than George Kittle. Kittle went ahead of him, I mean, from my perspective, with the only reasoning being where we had the uncertainty where we didn't exactly know what was going on with Darren Waller. So I feel like now that Darren Waller's good to go, now that you don't have to worry about anything, I don't know. I don't know. Okay, so A.J. Dillon off the board. I mean, at this point, I think that we want to go through. We want to grab the elite level quarterback if we can. We're going to grab some of these wide receivers as well. Y'all know I have been taking a decent amount of Cam Akers. I believe this report saying Akers good to go week 1. Yeah, I mean, that was the expectation for Akers to be good to go. Okay, so let's see what we end up getting here. Pick 60 and 61. I think we'll be good. K-Makers goes. Okay, so if you look at my rankings, honestly, I'm not excited to draft Rashad Bateman here. It is what it is. He never falls as far past ADP. Let's go Bateman, and then let's also take Kyler Murray. If we take Kyler Murray, we get that correlation in here with Hollywood Brown. I also think that Kyler Murray can be the quarterback 1 overall in fantasy. So we're going to save the extra roster spots at tight end and quarterback for the best ball format for us to be able to roster a couple extra wide receivers. So I like this idea. Let's go Rashad Bateman and Kyler Murray. If I was only drafting in like one fantasy football league, I probably would decide not to take Bateman here. But when we're drafting like 700 leagues, when Bateman falls like 6 points past his ADP, we kind of have to just go ahead and take him. Okay. Jake telling us to stop just following ADP. My friend, I'm drafting in 700 fantasy football leagues. Like, trust me, I'm not just following ADP. Let me go through and let me look at my percentage on Rashad Bateman. I do not have Bateman in many leagues at all, my friend. I have Bateman in 4% of drafts. We have half Rashad Bateman that the field does. We are making a pretty consistent bet fading Rashad Bateman. But we have to pick him up occasionally when he falls so far past ADP when we're drafting in 700 leagues. When you're drafting in like 700 leagues, you have to change a couple different things. Okay, so Elijah Mitchell, David Montgomery, Chase Edmonds, Damian Pierce off the board. Interesting to see Chase Edmonds go here. Probably the earliest I've seen Chase Edmonds go all offseason. Chase Edmonds used to be a player going to like pick 120. Obviously, this should be another riser with no Sony Michel in Miami. Was Sony Michel, you were never expecting him to be the starting running back for the Miami Dolphins, but there was the outside chance that he did come out and he was the running back seeing the majority, vulturing rushing touchdowns away from whoever the starter was here. So if he's gone and we don't have to worry about that, Chase Edmonds should be rising. Like, we moved him up our rankings, which we posted today. But at the same time, I don't know if we can have him here. To have him here is pretty aggressive. Okay, so Alan Lazard, Brandon Ayuk off the board, 72 and 73. James says he has 20% Chase Edmonds. Let me see how much Edmonds I have. I only have 7% Edmonds. I am underweight on Chase Edmonds. Oh, that is not great, ladies and gentlemen. I need to have more Chase Edmonds in my life. That is not great, to say the least. Okay, Brady off the board, 75. Burrow goes 76. So here you have Brady and Burrow before Trey Lance as well. This was something that you were never getting before the Jimmy Garoppolo, I guess, I don't even know what to call it. I want to call it an extension, a restructured contract, just Jimmy Garoppolo contract. Very interesting. Okay, DeAndre Hopkins goes 77. Does Lance fall to us? No, Lance goes 78. This is the latest I've seen Trey Lance fall in a very long time. This is a team that took Deebo Samuel. Makes a crap ton of sense for them to go through and draft Trey Lance. Drake London falling. In my opinion, I think London probably should be falling in a vacuum if we're just looking at the injury as we've been discussing. Corvette says Lance is not looking good. That's why. I don't know, my friend. Like, I don't really care if Trey Lance is going to be good from a real life perspective. We've always talked about this. Y'all know I've been a Trey Lance fanboy for the past 2 years. We did tweet out, and we've said this on the live stream as well, that taking him before Joe Burrow is very, very aggressive. But you're never betting on Lance because you think he's going to be a good NFL quarterback. You're betting on Lance just because you think that he is going to be someone that can come out and can give you a crap ton of rushing upside. You're betting on Lance so you can come be Jalen Hurts with a better offense. You're betting on Trey Lance to be Jalen Hurts with Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, Kyle Shanahan, and a great offensive line. Let's move this down. We go Christian Kirk, Drake London when they fall here. I mean, it is what it is. I think at this point, obviously, we are almost locked in a running back in the 9-10 turn. But I love the running backs at this price point in general. I have had a very hard time keeping myself from drafting Clyde Edwards-Helaire at the 7-8 turn previously. But now that Ronald Jones is making the roster, Isaiah Pacheco's making the roster, Jarrett McKinnon's making the roster, I am slightly more concerned about what we have with CEH. I am slightly more concerned. Okay, Gardner Minshew coming out says, hey, Mace, is this a good trade? Where we got Travis Kelce, Devin Singletary, Rondale Moore for Darnell Mooney, David Montgomery, and Austin Hooper. Yes. You could throw Singletary and Rondale Moore in the trash with this. Austin Hooper's a waiver wire player. So you gave up Darnell Mooney and David Montgomery for Travis Kelce and then picked up Devin Singletary and Rondale Moore for free? Oh, that is beautiful, my friend. That is beautiful. Great deal. Okay. Real quick, if y'all want another draft of this one, make sure you go down there, drop a like on the live stream. Drop a like on the live stream. If we had 700 likes on the stream, we are going to go through. We're going to fire up our 4th draft after this. And also, if you want to get in our next draft, where we draft every single night on the stream, go sign up for Underdog. You can find the link in the description. Find the link in the live chat. We draft here every single night. It's best ball, so there's no time commitment at all. And on top of this, hell, we're doing a 24-hour live stream with these drafts. You are going to have a million options to get into a draft room with us, or you can draft in the public lobby, or you can draft with your friends, whatever you want. Crypto Raptor says Trey Lance is worse than Jalen Hurts. Oh, I feel like that's very aggressive to say. We don't know yet, my friend. We do not know. I am very much looking forward to watching Trey Lance and Justin Fields play each other week 1. Well, we'll see how it turns out. Okay. So let's move this down. We're 7 picks away. Comes to quarterbacks, I'm not too interested in any of these QBs. It is scary that Derek Carr is about to pass Matthew Stafford in ADP. Let me look at where their ADPs were at the beginning of the offseason. So I'm pretty sure they were like 3 rounds apart. Yeah, I'm pulling this up for everybody here. Dear God. I forgot where these quarterbacks were being drafted. So we're looking at like when the contest opened like a week later, right? You had Josh Allen picked 22, Mahomes 36, Herbert 42, Lamar 42, Kyler 57. Burrow was going at 59. Brady 72, Wilson 72. They both fallen. Dak's fallen. Matthew Stafford was going to pick 88 when this contest first opened. And Derek Carr was going to pick 104. And now they're about to be back. I mean, now Derek Carr is about to have the higher ADP. They're about to flip. Okay, Cordell Patterson's the easy pick. We're going to take Cordell Patterson as well. We're probably going to go through. We're going to take Zach Ertz. I mean, with Zach Ertz, I'm going to be more willing to draft him on a team where we have Kyler Murray. And at the same time, yes, we took Travis Kelce. Of course, it's going to be best ball. I mean, with Zach Ertz, not someone that I'm super excited about in those high-stakes tournament drafts on Underdog where it's a large field. But in a private draft where we don't have the fantasy football playoffs, I think that Zach Ertz is going to be a little bit more appealing because obviously we won't have DeAndre Hopkins for the beginning portion of the season. So we could see an expanded role for the beginning portion of the year. We don't get both running backs that we wanted to fall. So let's go ahead. Let's take one of these running backs in Cordell Patterson, grab Zach Ertz. If we were playing in just a shallow redraft casual fantasy football league, when we have Kelce, of course, we don't take a second tight end. Okay. Jake says Burrow, the #1 score this year, calling it. Okay. I would say hard no on this. I do not think it's in the range of outcomes for Joe Burrow to be the quarterback 1 overall. I know that's aggressive to say, but like, let's go through and let's look at this. We do this in our draft guide, which I'm sure that the majority of y'all have already read. But if we are pulling this up last year, let's go fantasy points per game. And trust me, guys, this sucks. I think I'm going to start playing in more leagues that have 6-point passing touchdowns because they are quarterbacks that possibly are the best quarterbacks in real life, can also be the best quarterbacks in fantasy. But for example, last year, if we're looking at just points per game, you have Tom Brady, 22.8. Tom Brady's the quarterback 3. Let's just say it that way. And then a better example is probably going to be Derek Carr. Let's go look at Derek Carr. So, from a points per game standpoint, Derek Carr last year was the quarterback 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Derek Carr was the quarterback 17 last year on a points per game standpoint. If we look at NFL leaders passing 2021, Derek Carr was the 5th quarterback in the NFL in passing yards, only behind Tom Brady, Justin Herbert, Matthew Stafford, Patrick Mahomes. The issue is if you don't have that rushing upside, it's so hard. It's so hard. Carly says, a flock being serious, would you do a Zoom call for $50? No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, my friend. I don't have the time, and also it would not be worth it for you. It would not be worth it for you. Let's scroll this over. Gallup goes 125. Love the Michael Gallup pick. Love that Michael Gallup pick. Of course, we're not needing wide receivers here. We're probably just going to grab a couple of running backs. James says he said he wouldn't do a Zoom call for $500. And I'm not saying like I wouldn't do a Zoom call for $500 because, oh, my time's worth more. No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that whatever I would charge is not going to be worth it for you. I would be ripping you off. If I would say, oh, 30 minutes for Zoom calls, it is worth $150 for me, for my time. There's nothing I can tell you in that 30 minutes that's going to be worth $150 to you. So if I were to go through and charge that, I'm just ripping you off. And that's why I can't do those like consultation calls or stuff. I know people do it. In reality, I'm just not going to be able to provide you that much value. And I would feel bad about doing it. Russell Gage goes off the board 130. Yeah, I think we go back-to-back running back here almost regardless. I really like the running backs in this range. We didn't get Jalen Waddle, so it's not like we're that interested in taking Tua Tagovailoa. Let's go ahead. Let's take Michael Carter and Kenneth Gainwell here. Let's go Michael Carter and Kenneth Gainwell because I do think that these are running backs that have roles in the receiving game on a week-to-week basis. And what's really funny is Michael Carter, I swear, is one of my most drafted running backs. Pulling this up right now, he is my 1, 2, 3, 4. He's my 5th most drafted running back on Underdog. And the reason we were drafting so much Michael Carter is I was just saying, okay, well, with Michael Carter here, he will have the receiving down role at the beginning portion of the season, and it'll be that primary handcuff running back in the second part of the year. Now, maybe we were a little bit wrong in that. Maybe he has an expanded role, even bigger than what we were thinking about at the beginning part of the year. But I do think that he gives you some starts through the first few months, and then he kind of transitions to just being the handcuff running back, similar to like an Alexander Madison, maybe with a lower ceiling. Okay. So let's move this down. Alberto off the board 136. Irv Smith Jr. 137. So at this point, yeah, we just want to see tight ends off. Like, come on, keep taking these tight ends. Keep taking these tight ends, please. Johnny says Joe Burrow scores more OTS per game last year than Jalen Hurts. Are you saying points per game last year than Jalen Hurts? If I'm pulling this up, last year, according to Fantasy Pros, Joe Burrow did not score more points per game than Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts outscored Joe Burrow on a points per game basis last season. Joe Burrow had more points overall because he played 16 games compared to Jalen Hurts at 15. But no, Jalen Hurts outscored Joe Burrow on a points per game basis. And at the same time, now Jalen Hurts is going to go through and he is going to get A.J. Brown. If you were playing in a league that had 6-point passing touchdowns, then sure, I think you can go through. I think you can take a Joe Burrow over Hurts. But in a league that has a 4-point passing touchdowns, it's going to be very difficult. Very, very, very difficult for those quarterbacks without rushing upside to get there. It just sucks. Now, Carly says, Flock, I don't want your Zoom call for your advice. I just genuinely want to talk to you because you inspire me and you've helped me, especially with Deanna. I'm assuming you're trolling me, my friend. Thank you, of course. And like I was saying, I'm sorry. I just can't do that. I'm just like, I don't know if I'm not exaggerating when I say like I work 80 hours a week, like during the football season. I wake up and I have stuff to do till the time I go to bed. We live stream every single night. I'm going to live stream every single night for like the 200 days in a row. So it comes down to like, oh, it doesn't make more sense for me to spend 30 minutes live streaming or 30 minutes in a Zoom call. And it's definitely 30 minutes live streaming. Okay, now Jacoby Myers off the board, 148. So let's hope that David Njoku goes. Guys, we are 90 subscribers away from 89,000. If you have not done so already, go down there, subscribe to the channel. And if we hit 700 likes in the stream, we are going to fire up another draft for this one. So drop that like to get in another draft, and also drop that like so possibly get recommended to someone who's not subscribed to the channel. And we hit 89,000 and get that one step closer to 90 for that 24-hour live stream on Monday. Okay. Jameis Winston, 153. Isaiah Pacheco, we've talked about the fact that we've been fading him heavily at his price tag. And like, this goes to show, like, Isaiah Pacheco falls 16 picks for us in ADP. And while I'm the guy who usually goes through and drafts almost anybody when they fall 16 picks past their ADP, regardless who it is, I'm still not looking to draft Isaiah Pacheco. That should fill you in on where I stand on the guy. Like, I'm just never taking him. Never, ever, ever. Jamal Williams off the board. I kind of just want to go. That's what I kind of want to do. I would go Christian Watson over Robbie Anderson if it was a league that had the fantasy football playoffs, if it was a league that had the fantasy football playoff tournament. But here, I think the elite level ceiling you may get down the stretch with Christian Watson doesn't matter as much, given the fact that we don't have the fantasy football playoffs. It's just cumulative scoring weeks 1 through 17, as we've discussed so many times before. Okay. Carlos says, Flock, 3 to 5 minutes is good. You bring me so much. Okay, Carl. I'm assuming you're trolling me here. I'm assuming you're trolling. Hugh the Plug says, okay, Mason, final offer. $1 million to let me live in your closet for a year. Take it or leave it. I will say, $1 million, you can live in my closet. And I will bring you protein bars to live off of for that year. I'll give you granola bars and protein bars for the year you live in the closet. Now we have Khalil Herbert off the board at 159. Let me know what y'all are preferring. Are you preferring Khalil Herbert here or Raheem Mostert? Like, I think that Herbert has a higher ceiling on a week-to-week basis if we're going to go through and look at the potential of David Montgomery missing time. But from a floor standpoint, like, I don't think Herbert is ever someone hitting your starting lineup outside of a David Montgomery injury. Okay. Q the Plug says water and it's a deal. I will hook you up with water, but it's going to be like one of those giant dog water things where it's like a big thing that you put on a bowl where I only have to refill it like once every few days. And then the same thing with protein bars. We'll probably do the same thing with protein and granola bars. I won't even do granola bars. We'll just do that same exact bowl situation, but it'll just be granola. Okay. So now we have JD McKissick got the board 168. Joseph says, when are the knitting streams coming, Mason? Probably pretty soon, my friend. I mean, in that 24-hour live stream, guys, I don't know. Y'all know I love doing these underdog drafts, but 24 hours of them. $24. We're going to get like 50 drafts in a row. Maybe we go through, try to do something else. Different right now. Okay. Faded says next super chat cue the plug has donated $1 million. Obviously YouTube doesn't let you do that, but that would be hilarious. Okay, Zamir White off the board 164. Ruben says, Mason, would you ever want to work as an NFL scout? Oh, my friend. I would be a horrible NFL scout. This is something that I've talked a lot about from a dynasty fantasy football perspective when we're evaluating rookies coming into the NFL. There's a massive difference between NFL value and fantasy football value between players. Like, so many people have a hard time understanding this, where like we look at, for example, the 2020 draft class is a good point. Henry Ruggs going before CeeDee Lamb, Jerry Jeudy. Did the Raiders ever select Henry Ruggs thinking that he would have more receptions, more receiving yards, or just more fantasy points than CeeDee Lamb? No, the Raiders picked him just because his speed, just because he could stretch NFL defenses and create space underneath for their other players to get volume. Same thing with guys like in last year's class, you had Tutu Atwell, Dwayne Eskridge going in the second round, and Amon-Ra St. Brown going in the fourth. Did the Seattle Seahawks ever take Dwayne Eskridge thinking he was going to have more receptions, more receiving yards, more receiving touchdowns than Amon-Ra St. Brown? So we can say the same thing. Did the Rams take Tutu Atwell because they thought so? No, it's because they looked at the elite level speed. They said, okay, we need someone to play that vertical element. We need someone to go through and stretch NFL defenses. And we don't care about fantasy points. So like if we're applying our process to evaluating collegiate players coming into the NFL level, where I can go through and I can prove that we are more predictive than NFL draft capital at identifying players that are going to hit from a fantasy football standpoint. It's not me saying that, oh, we are better at finding talent than NFL scouts. It's not true. It's that we kind of know what profiles we're looking for from a fantasy football standpoint, and we know what correlates to scoring fantasy points. Like, they're two completely different games. Carly coming out says, Flock, not trolling. I donate so much because you make me. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. No, Isaiah Likely off the board, 174. Jameson Williams. And Goon Russ coming out says, trade ideas. I have Josh Allen, Derrick Henry, J.K. Dobbins, Deebo Samuel, Deontay Johnson, Kyle Pitts, Breece Hall, George Pickens, Drake London, Dameon Pierce, Traylon Burks, and a 10-team shallow redraft league. Love the elite QB. Love the elite tight ends. Beyond that, I'm trying to come up with an idea of what we can do. Because on the bench, we say this in every single team y'all send me, but this is exactly what we should look at. This is exactly what we should be looking for. The elite level ceiling down there on the bench with guys like George Pickens, Drake London, Traylon Burks, Breece Hall. I know we're just listing off a bunch of rookies here, but at the same time, okay, real quick, we are going to go back-to-back quarterback. I would not take 3 quarterbacks on this build if it was not for the fact that this is a private draft. If this was a tournament underdog draft, you only take 2. You have to save an extra roster spot for a wide receiver. But because it's a private draft, we can take 3 QBs. But yeah, going back to this, love that we're rostering those high upside rookies at the bottom half of our bench. I'm sorry, I can't come up with anything really. Like if we could trade Deebo Samuel and like Drake London and get Stephon Diggs for the Josh Allen stack, then sure. But in reality, I think that's a great squad. Okay, so let's move this down. And of course, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like in the live stream. We hit 700 likes, which I believe is in 40 likes. We're going to fire up, what, our 4th draft of the stream? And I think we were only like 90 subscribers away from hitting 89,000 subscribers as well. I apologize. 80 subscribers away. Now, our next question coming out from Peter. Thank you, my man, says, 14-team PPR league where we got Trey Lance at quarterback, running back Najee Harris, Saquon Barkley, Travis Etienne, Alexander Madison, Kenneth Gainwell, Rashad White, wide receiver, Hollywood Brown, Rashad Bateman, Elijah Moore, Sky Moore, Traylon Burks, Christian Watson. We had the elite tight end Travis Kelce. Of course, a 14-team league, we're lowering the bar across the board. In a 14-team league, we're not necessarily expecting to be strong in too many spots. You kind of have to come out here and sacrifice some value at individual positions. Running back, we're going to be fine, though. We have 2 top 10 guys with Najee Harris, Saquon Barkley. We have Travis Etienne, who's possibly a top 14 running back, which would be a running back 1 in this format in particular. Wide receiver, Hollywood Bateman, Elijah Moore. This is just a freaking great team, my friend. This is a great, great squad. I mean, this looks like a 12, 10-team league. Like if it was a 10-team league, I'd be like, all right, it's an okay team. But in a 14-team format, that's unbelievable. Okay, so let's move this down. Jarrett McKinnon goes 191. I think we're in a pretty good spot. Let's make these next 2 picks. And actually, yeah, if we hit, like I said, if we hit 700 likes on the stream, I think we were about 35 away. We were going to go through, we're going to fire up another draft. If we fire up another draft, it's just going to be a $3 private draft. Or I'll send the link out there in the live chat. And of course, if you want to join our next draft, go sign up for Underdog. Use promo code FLOCK when you sign up for Underdog Fantasy. They'll match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. We'll get our 2022 fantasy football rankings. We'll get our 2022 fantasy football draft guide. And they'll match your first deposit. So it's essentially free for you to try out. I don't necessarily need you and need your help filling our next draft. We're going to fill our next draft, no problem. But I really need you out there in that 24-hour live stream drafting with us. Okay. So at this point, I think we probably can bring in 1 more receiver, 1 more running back, or maybe 2 more receivers. It just depends on the value that falls to us. Jeff Wilson goes 199. Good for us to see these tight ends off the board. Like, y'all know we've taken a lot of Logan Thomas, but still in reality, like, we can't draft Logan Thomas on this team. Like, we've already gone way, way, way overboard. Okay, so AJ Green, easy pick. We have Kyler Murray. We're going to go through. We're going to build in that double stack. I guess we could. Yeah, let's go AJ Green, Jamison Crowder. I think we could take Jamison Crowder here because we are going to be looking at Isaiah McKenzie dealing with the injury over the past week. I mean, I would argue that the reason Isaiah McKenzie won the starting slot wide receiver job in Buffalo anyway was given the injury that you had to Jamison Crowder. So maybe if Isaiah McKenzie himself's going down, that's going to open up the door for Jamison Crowder to get back the starting slot wide receiver job for the Buffalo Bills. But Christian coming out, thank you, my friend, says, how crazy am I to consider Kyle Pitts the most valuable asset in any Dynasty Superflex league or not? Had a ton of startups and Pitts in every single one. Oh, my friend, I think you're a little bit biased here. If you had a lot of startups and you drafted Kyle Pitts in every single one of them, I think you're probably a little biased. If you want to make the argument he's a better asset than JT, Justin Jefferson, sure, you can go for it in a tight end premium format. I honestly still probably wouldn't say it, especially in a super flex league. I don't think you can even argue in a tight end premium format. If it's super flex, you can't argue that he's a better dynasty asset than Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert. Those quarterbacks not only give you such a high ceiling this upcoming season, but also long-term, they have such a high floor as well. Okay, so we have Brevin Jordan off the board, 209. Tony says underdog drafts are like cocaine in the 80s. Wasn't alive in the 80s, but I will say underdog drafts are addicting. There's a reason I've done like 700 of these this offseason, guys. And we are 20 likes away from firing up another draft, so let me know if y'all want to see that other draft. Go down there, drop that like. If not, it's all cool. We can go through, we can save our voice, and we can draft on Monday. But as we wait for that, let me go through and let me look at the pick'ems and see if these lines have changed at all. Have y'all made any pick'em bets on underdog? I have not made a single one this offseason. I mean, yeah, we haven't made a single one this offseason outside of like the freebies that they give you. Like they do give you a freebie, like I'd say like once a month. I bet every single one of those to take the free money. But inside of that, we were talking about last night on the live stream, like Stephon Diggs was at like 69.5, and they were only like 8 receiving yards between Diggs and Gabriel Davis, which I thought was pretty crazy. But now it looks like, I think Gabriel Davis has stayed the same. Stephon Diggs has moved up. Okay. Look at what we have with the Los Angeles Rams running backs here. 46.5 rushing yards for Cam Akers. 27.5 rushing yards for Darrell Henderson. One of these has to hit, right? I don't know. 9 times out of 10, if you think that there's an easy player prop, you're wrong. You're probably going to lose money. So let's stay away from that. We'll make a video going through and we'll do something fun. We'll do our $1,000 bankroll challenge. 1 point, but let's slide this over. Let me grab this link and we will send out this link for the $3 draft. Of course, thank you all so much for supporting the channel. Just sent this out here. Ashton says, no, not yet, Mason. Waiting for you. Please do not follow our player prop bets. Maybe for some fun, you can do it. We were profitable last year, but we got very lucky last year. I mean, y'all know I'm a big Trey Lance fanboy. We were all in on Trey Lance in Dynasty last season. We built our brand on Trey Lance for all the same reasons. People are now thinking that he is the best value in Dynasty, yada, yada, yada. The elite rushing ceiling, the situation he's stepping into, the draft capital he has. So we got so excited when he was playing the Houston Texans. We went through and we made a massive bet on a Trey Lance over, a Brandon Ayuk over, and a Brandon Cooks over. And we ended up winning like $1,000 on it. Just literally, like the Brandon Cooks line was like 61.5 receiving yards. And on the final play of the game, he got to like 62. Like, so we were profitable last year with pick'ems. I don't know if that's going to be the case every year though. Okay, so let's see what we're going to be doing at pick 4. I think we'll be good at pick 4. I mean, we got Daxtree Boys out here again. Daxtree Boys just the best name on Underdog. We got Chase79 out here. Cam Hurst out here. Dark Horse. Riz out here again. I believe they were in the last draft with us. James out here at the 101. Cheesehead says, hey, new to the channel this season, but enjoyed your videos, and they've helped me in a lot of draft. Thank you so much, James. I mean, not James. I'm sorry. Thank you so much, Cheesehead. Happy to hear you've been enjoying the videos, and best of luck this season, my friend. Okay, Justin Jefferson off the board. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to get Cooper Kupp. As I've said, the more I read about this Matthew Stafford elbow injury, the less I'm concerned about it. Like, the more I'm willing to just go through and take Cooper Kupp, wide receiver 1. I mean, we've been making that call, taking Cooper Kupp. I believe we took him at the 103 earlier in this live stream. So getting him at 4 is going to be a no-brainer. I mean, even when you were worried about the injury, you were still taking him at 4 with confidence. See, we got Dalvin Cook, Joe Mixon off the board. Not too much to discuss. I mean, Mixon used to go at like pick 16. I don't know if this is because We're drafting with members of the flock, and that's why we now see Joe Mixon go at the end of the first round. But used to be able to get Joe Mixon at like 16. Like there was one underdog draft that I got in on the public lobby where I got Jamar Chase at like 5 or 6, then Joe Mixon at like 18 or 19, and then T. Higgins in the third round as well. It's like the craziest draft I'd ever been in, like the craziest start I'd ever had on underdog. James says, love the experience badge. I thought you've had it for a long time, James. When did you get the experience badge? I thought you had it forever. Okay, so we have Alvin Kamara going here off the board at 13. I've not drafted Kamara in a very long time. It's because we were drafting so much of him. So much Alvin Kamara in the late third. Like there was like a 2 or 3 week stretch where the only third round pick we ever made was Alvin Kamara. DeAndre Swift off the board 15. Tony says, will you run for president, Mason? If I were to run for president, say I was elected president of the United States. If y'all have seen the way I can ruin a fantasy football draft, by the end of the 4 years, if I had not been impeached out of office, the United States probably would be taken over, like the South would be taken over by Mexico and the North would be taken over by Canada. Like we would find a way to just completely botch it. Okay, Mark Andrews off the board 19. Honestly, I'm not a massive Javonte guy. Javonte goes. So we're going to get Deebo Samuel. Like I've said, I think that there are reasons to be concerned about Deebo Samuel in general. But on underdog, there are a lot of times that you take Deebo Samuel here, and then on the way back around in the third, you're getting Nick Chubb. You're getting Leonard Fournette. So I think we have to take Deebo and then just hope that we get one of those running backs on the way back around in the third. Which I think there's a good shot. I think there's a good shot that ends up happening. Tony says the flock army will hold them off. It's pretty funny, my friend. Jesse says, don't bring your confidential documents home in boxes and then leave them at your house when you're on. Oh, okay. For a second, I had no idea what you were talking about. I thought you were like saying that you got robbed or something, my friend. Did not know you were talking about a president or something. I was like, oh, where'd you go to vacation? Hawaii? I was about to ask you how your vacation was, my friend. Okay, so Tyreek Hill off the board at pick 25. So let's see if we get Nick Chubb. I mean, at this point, you have seen a lot of people decide to push up Kyle Pitts to the very beginning of the third round. So I think, no, we don't get Nick Chubb. Instead, we are going to get Kyle Pitts. I mean, I honestly probably would prefer Nick Chubb in the third round with this build in particular, but y'all know I've taken a crap ton of Kyle Pitts this year. I mean, I don't want to say, oh, Kyle Pitts, my favorite tight end. Kyle Pitts, the guy I've drafted the most. In reality, in these underdog drafts, I've just always tried to come away with an elite level tight end. Like I've always come away with either Kelsey, Andrews, Pitts, Kittle, or Waller. I'm sure that you've noticed that in our drafts by now. Like, let me go through and let me look at my 5 most drafted tight ends. Yeah, this is Andrews, Kittle, Gesicki. Freiermuth made it up there. Waller and Kelsey. Yeah, so I guess Pat Freiermuth made it up there whenever Pat Freiermuth was going at the end of the 12th round. I have no longer seen Pat Freiermuth going at like the 12, 13 turn. So honestly, probably done drafting Pat Freiermuth for quite some time. Okay, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen off 32, 33. Tyler says Waller's a beast. Yeah, I mean, with Darren Waller, of course, the issue is going to be what does the target share look like for Davante Adams this upcoming season? Like, if Davante Adams comes in and he commands 25% of the targets in Las Vegas, like, it's going to be very difficult to see any excitement for Darren Waller in that offense, especially if you assume that Hunter Renfrow still has a role. But if we see Davante Adams scale back, or maybe it's like a 23% team target share, I don't know. A lot of people are extremely excited about Adams still. Okay, but Travis Etienne, James Conner here off the board, 3-4 turn. Terry McLaurin off 40. Let's see what we're getting. Let's see what we're getting. Y'all know I like the elite level quarterback here. The question is, if the board falls in a certain way, do we take a non-quarterback expecting one to make it back to us in the 5th? Ezekiel Elliott goes 43. Dak Street Boys on the clock. Dak Street Boys goes Jerry Jeudy. We're going to go ahead. We're going to take Lamar Jackson. I know most people are only taking Lamar Jackson here if they have Mark Andrews, but in reality, I think Lamar Jackson can be the quarterback 1 overall in fantasy. I don't think we're sacrificing too much upside at the wide receiver position. Same thing with running back. So let's go Lamar. Let's lock in the elite level quarterback. In a best ball format, we're only going to have to draft one more of these guys. So I think we should be good to go. See, Deontay Johnson goes 46. Deontay Johnson, 46. Breece Hall. Okay, so Breece Hall is someone that we've been buying the dip on in the 5th round. Darren Waller going 48. So it looks like Darren Waller going before George Kittle. James, on the same page as us. I know most people are preferring Kittle, but I think that we do decide to make that pivot back over. Mahomes goes 49. It's going to be very difficult for us to take Kittle. Like, even if you were to fall to us, we took Kyle Pitts earlier on. We don't want to go with the bully tight end strategy in a non-tournament style draft. Like, there's no reason for us to. Yeah, so once Kittle's off the board, I think we have a very clear call at wide receiver. Now that it's looking like, I mean, Juju Smith-Schuster's just never falling to pick 52 anymore. Like, let's go ahead. Let's take Juju Smith-Schuster. On underdog in particular, we're going to get some very strong running back value later. And Sean coming out, thank you, my friend, says $80 league, 10-team standard, 2 quarterbacks. We got Lamar, Justin Fields. Okay, so we have 2 quarterbacks with a decent amount of rushing upside, which I like. Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara, and Leonard Fournette. So potentially 3 top 10 running backs, 10-team league. So 3 running back ones. Travis Etienne may even get there if it's a PPR format. We have T. Higgins, Rashad Bateman. No, you're saying standard only. Okay, standard only. Yeah, Travis Etienne, less exciting. Higgins, Bateman, Cooks, Godwin, Devonta Smith, Michael Gallup, Kyle Pitts. The rest are high upside rookies. Love to hear that. In reality, I'm not a massive Bateman guy. Like, I would go through. I'd look to try to move off Rashad Bateman usually. But at the same time, hell, if we're in a spot where you have Lamar Jackson, probably makes sense just to hold on to Rashad Bateman. I mean, you're already betting on that Baltimore Ravens offense. So let's go through. Let's just keep that correlation in here. Yeah, I hate to say that, but I think we look to hold on to Rashad Bateman. If we were to make a move, I think that we take one of these depth wide receivers and we package him with like a Devonta Smith with this team. Like, if we can go through, move Devonta Smith and Brandon Cooks and get a wide receiver that we're going to be more excited about, I think it'd make a lot of sense. Or just a wide receiver in this range, move him over for Darnell Mooney, get that stack in with Justin Fields. Okay. Now, David Montgomery off the board, 61. Now, David Montgomery has been a running back we've been taking more and more of this month, because you have been looking at David Montgomery as someone in those high-stakes drafts we've been hopping in, falling to the 6-7 turn. And I'm sorry, I know I'm an idiot, but if I see early 7th round David Montgomery, I can't stop myself. I go through and I draft David Montgomery in the 7th round. But no, David Montgomery goes 61, so that's not even going to be an option for us if we wanted to go down that road. Okay, so Bateman's still falling. Elijah Mitchell goes 65. So yeah, Bateman... Oh, do we have to take him? No, Bateman goes 67. Never mind. I was going to say, Bateman fell, like, what? 13 picks past his ADP, and he made it to us at 69 on a team where we had Lamar. We probably had to go through and draft him. Maybe I throw y'all a bone here. Let's see what Dak Street Boys does. It's Javonte, A.J. Dillon. He goes Elijah Moore. I'm doing this for y'all. We're doing it. I don't like it. Very rarely am I drafting him here, but we need a running back. We'll still be able to get Chase Edmonds, Josh Jacobs on the way back around in the 7th round. So let's go through. Let's take Dameon Pierce. This is my first pick of Dameon Pierce, probably in like, almost a month at this point. We have not drafted Dameon Pierce in a long, long, long time. Okay, Christian Kirk off the board, 71. Okay, my dog's a little scared of something that's going on outside, so I'm going to have to let her in here with us. Sorry, I'll be back in literally 1 second. She's at the door trying to get in. Come in here. Come on. Come on, baby girl. Yeah, you can get in here. Go hide under the desk. Go hide under the desk. I know, you can hide. Yeah, sorry. My dog is the biggest scaredy cat on the planet. She acts like any noise that she hears outside, someone coming to kill her. Now we got Allen Lazard off the board, 74. At this point, let's go ahead. Let's take Trey Lance. Now, if this was not best ball, of course, we're not taking another quarterback after we have Lamar Jackson. I mean, you're starting Lamar Jackson every single week almost regardless. But in a best ball format where we don't have to submit our starting lineup and we just get the best option available to us every single week being thrown out there, we have Deebo Samuel. It makes sense to go through, get Trey Lance, the quarterback with the elite rushing ceiling, especially when at the same time he correlates with Deebo. So let's go through. Let's make this pick. I don't necessarily think that we have to think too much about this. Okay, so let's move this back around. Looks like y'all want to see the dog. So, hey, Miley, come here. Come here, girlie. I know. Come here. You can come over. Come here. Get out from under the desk. You want to tell them to drop a like on the video? Here, the microphone's here. Drop a like on the video. Like the video. Okay, I think you got him. I think you told him. I know. Good girl. Good girl. Okay, so you heard the lady. Okay, if you have not dropped a like on the live stream yet, I have no idea. If you're not going to drop a like for her, like obviously I understand why you're not dropping a like for me. But have you ever seen a dog that cute? Come on. Now, Ramondre Stevenson off the board, pick 82 here. So let me know what y'all think about what we decided to do. I don't love the Dameon Pierce and Trey Lance 6-7 round turn. Like it is what it is. We're definitely still going to need to bring running backs on the way back around. Leroy says the dog gets my vote. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so Chris Olave off. I mean, I guess the running backs are more appealing at pick 93 now that we have Miles Sanders, in my opinion, as a better option when he's actually at practice. So Miles Sanders is actually practicing. I'm going to be more excited to take him in this range. So sure, I think he'll be fine. I think he'll be fine. Vince says not really liking this team. To be honest with you, I would have been a much bigger fan of this squad if we would have had Elijah Mitchell, if we would have had J.K. Dobbins making it to us, or Elijah Moore. Like, I don't know. I'm not a big Dameon Pierce guy at this price. Like, I 100% have to give kudos, give props to anybody who drafted Dameon Pierce whenever he was an extremely strong value. If you were coming out here, if you were calling Dameon Pierce the best value in fantasy football whenever he was going in rounds 12, 13, I mean, tip my cap to you. Congrats. You crushed it. But yeah, I don't love 6th round Dameon Pierce. Okay. Let's move this down. We're about to be up in 3 picks. London. Okay, London goes to Dax. London almost fell that far here. Dear God. We're going to go ahead. We are going to take Rashad Penny. Y'all know I have not been a massive fan of Penny in leagues where we're playing for the fantasy football playoffs. In leagues that we're playing for weeks 15, 16, 17. Like, what's the real point in taking a Rashad Penny when we know that Kenneth Walker is going to expand his role as the season goes on? Not only is Kenneth Walker going to expand his role as the season goes on, but we really need to be worried about the injury history we have had with Penny in particular. I don't know. I mean, Penny 93 with Kenneth Walker looking like he's missing the beginning of the season, I think it's going to be much more appealing in this format. Okay, so we have Marquez Valdez-Scantling off the board here, 97. I don't know. What are we wanting? Robert Woods gone. I think Woods could have been someone we took. Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's take Miles Sanders. I feel like we've drafted Miles Sanders in every single draft tonight. Like when we be getting Miles Sanders in round 9, I think when he's healthy, at practice, yes, of course, it looks like he's going to be splitting the backfield, but at the same time, you're looking at him as a running back that's playing behind the best offensive line of football. I think we kind of have to take the value. And Marcus coming out, thank you, my friend, says 12-team PPR boring format where we got 2 running backs, 2 receivers, a flex, 1 quarterback, 6th pick. $300 league, though. Okay, so we got a lot on the line. We took Derrick Henry at 6, Javonte in the 2nd, Mike Evans, Mike Williams, Justin Herbert. Love the Herbert pick pair up with Mike Williams. Allen Robinson, Dameon Pierce, Michael Carter, Adam Thielen, Rashad Penny, Brandon Ayuk, and Ernest Minshew. I really like the team overall. I like the fact that we prioritized running backs in a format like this where you don't have that extra flex spot where you're not going to be able to start 4 wide receivers every single week. So I think you're right in that this is the league to go running back. Now, what I'll say is, I mean, we just took Rashad Penny. We were just discussing the fact that I think he's a better option at the beginning of the season than later on in the year. So especially if we assume that Kenneth Walker is going to be dealing with that hernia injury where you're not going to get Kenneth Walker for a large chunk at the beginning part of the year, I think we go through and just sell Rashad Penny like a month after the season. Like if we can ride out Rashad Penny and he can be a top 15 running back through the first month, and then we can sell him as Kenneth Walker's being more and more implemented here with Michael Carter and just get a long-term running back, I think that would make a lot of sense. Okay. Now we have Shrek coming out, says Ramondre Stevenson or Chase Edmonds for week 1 help. I think you go Chase Edmonds. Not a great matchup, I believe, going up against the New England Patriots, but still at the same time, no Sony Michel. We go ahead, we take him. With Ramondre Stevenson, I would rather see what the workload is going to look like in New England before we make any decisions, because I'm much more confident to project that you do have Chase Edmonds almost as the guaranteed starter here in Miami, where we can't necessarily say the same exact thing about Ramondre Stevenson in New England. I almost said New York. But Jur coming out, thank you, my friend, says only week 1, and I already have a headache. Say Dobbins is out. Do you start Mike Davis, Breece Hall, or Michael Carter? Okay. I don't think Mike Davis is in play, especially if they bring in Kenyon Drake. Like, if they didn't have Drake, then sure, you can go Mike Davis is really just the only guy in that situation. But no. I think that we have to go through. I know they're saying that Michael Carter is the starting running back. I'm having a hard time believing it. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be very, very tough for me to go through and play Michael Carter over Breece Hall. I just think Breece Hall's so much better. Let's go ahead. Let's take Rondell Moore. I mean, with Rondell Moore, similar to what we were discussing with Rashad Penny, in a league where we don't have the fantasy football playoffs here in these private drafts, I think it's going to be more appealing. We don't have DeAndre Hopkins for the beginning portion of the season, so he can front load some production for us. So let's go ahead. Let's take him here at 117. Not a great pick, but we kind of need to bring in some more wide receiver help. Okay, so let's move this down. And we are about to hit 800 likes in the live stream. Thank you so much for everybody who's gone down there and dropped a like. And we'll fire up another draft. If we hit 900 likes in the stream, we will go ahead and get our 4th draft underway. Or maybe it's our 5th. Yeah, no, I think it's our 5th draft, honestly. So we're going to be like 3 hours in by the time this one ends. So we'll fire up our 5th draft on the live stream if we hit 900 likes. And of course, if you want to get in our next draft, go to the link in the description, go to the link in the live chat, go sign up for Underdog Fantasy. They'll match your first deposit when you sign up, dollar for dollar up to 100. You'll get our 2022 fantasy football rankings. You'll get our 2022 fantasy football draft guide as well. And most importantly, you can get in the live stream so you can draft with us, especially in that 24-hour stream. We're going to do 24 hours straight on Monday of these drafts. For the love of God, please get in a couple drafts with me. Please. Now, Gallup off the board, 121. If I'm going to be honest with you, I prefer Gallup over Rondale Moore. Like, of course, we have to mix it up here with ADP when we're drafting in so many of these leagues. I'm trying to think for a second. No, I think Joshua Palmer's. Sure, let's go Joshua Palmer. I think that we are still going to get some running backs that we like on the way back around to us. With Joshua Palmer, he's attached to Justin Herbert, so I think that we can see some really nice spike weeks out of him in particular, just because this Los Angeles Chargers offense is going to put up so many points. So let's go ahead. Let's take him here. I kind of feel like we're in no man's land, or maybe you just want to go through. Maybe you just want to take Nyheim Hines, but I think like we can look at someone like J.D. McKissic later on. That's going to be very comparable to what you would have with Hines. If anything, maybe... I hate to say this, maybe J.D. McKissic's not the same talent that Hines is, but he has less competition. Like, I know that we have reports coming out of Indianapolis saying, oh no, Nyheim Hines is going to have a larger role this year. We're going to scale back Jonathan Taylor. Do we really think that's going to happen? Do we really think that's going to happen? And Michael Carter off the board to 129. Definitely sucks. I think we do want some of these running backs on the way back around. Pat Frymuth goes. Frymuth is another player that I'm very excited about in this range if he makes it to us in the 12th. It's been happening less and less. You are seeing him in the 11th round. I think we do have to reevaluate and figure out if we are going to be excited to draft him here as well. So Frymuth goes. And after this, it looks like a couple of these teams already had two tight ends, so we're going to assume that they're done drafting them. I think there's an okay shot we end up getting someone like an Irv Smith Jr. on the way back around for us. James says J.D. McKissic's my most drafted player. Yeah, like in a regular league where you had to submit your starting lineup, like J.D. McKissic, Nyheim Hines, those are guys that I'm never drafting. But I do think on underdog, like in a best ball format, those players that we know are going to have roles in the receiving game, they are going to be a lot more interesting. A lot more interesting. Because Daniel Jones goes. We're done at quarterback as well. Great for us to get guys like Daniel Jones off the board. Like, we are just not interested in him at all. Garrett says, let's hit 90,000 tomorrow, boys. I don't think we're going to hit 90,000 tomorrow. Not many. YouTube traffic's down overall on Saturdays. I think we're hitting 90,000 on Sunday. I think Sunday's the day we hit 90,000. So let's go through. I'm not taking Isaiah Pacheco. Maybe, you know what? Now that Isaiah Pacheco is the best running back that we have available to us here, I definitely think that we can say with confidence that our decision to go through and draft Joshua Palmer over those running backs in the last round over guys like Nyheim Hines, Michael Carter, bad decision. Bad decision on my part. We should have gone running back. Like, I mean, what's the real difference between Devontae Parker and Joshua Palmer here? Where I think there is that pretty serious drop-off in the running back position in particular. Now, Khalil Herbert off the board at 143. Okay, James takes David Njoku here. Very excited about Njoku. Actually, I guess that's not too early on Njoku. I guess it's not that early on Njoku. Just was not someone that I was expecting him to go with. Robbie Anderson goes 145 as well. This point, We could go 7th receiver and then in a private draft possibly be done. Definitely going to draft 6 running backs minimum. Depends the tight end that we would get available to us later on. KJ Hamler goes 146. I think that we probably just lock in a wide receiver here, whether that's, you know what? I think we're actually probably going to go Jacoby Myers. Go Jacoby Myers. We are building around that New England Patriots passing offense with Devontae Parker and Jacoby Myers. Tyquan Thornton looks like he's going to be out for a large chunk of this season now with the collarbone. And at the same time, I mean, if he's out for the beginning of the year, I don't necessarily think that we have to worry about him taking a role later on. So let's go Jacoby Myers. I mean, here we're getting Jacoby Myers at a fine value. And I think that when we lock in these targets in New England, we're probably going to be able to stop drafting wide receivers soon. They're probably going to be able to pivot back over to running back, pivot over to tight end. But Hieronymus coming out, long time no see, my friend, says, thoughts on having Kyler, Connor, Hollywood, and DeAndre Hopkins all in one roster. Glad to be back. Do I trade Javonte for Saquon Barkley? Personally, I think you do trade Javonte Williams for Saquon Barkley. And then with you going all in on the Arizona Cardinals offense, I'm honestly fine with it. Because if we go back and look at how Cliff Kingsbury runs this offense, it's not like Cliff Kingsbury is some great NFL head coach, but at the same time, he treats it like it's Madden. Cliff Kingsbury just treats it like it's a video game where they are pushing the pace of play. They're going out there. They're trying to run as many plays per game. The passing rate over expectation is going to be incredibly high as well. So I think you can get away with it. Christian Watson off the board at 154. Wandell goes, probably a good thing for us to see these wide receivers off. We just don't want to get running backs drafted. Like, last thing we need to see are running backs going off the board. Gesicki goes 156. A little early for Gesicki. I'm not going to lie. Gesicki was one of the tight ends that we were going to hope that we got on the way back around. I say Pacheco's still falling. I mean, if he were to fall to us, pick 165, 25 picks past his ADP, we probably have to take him even if we're not that excited about it. But that would just be a crazy value. Now, the Jonathan Helms coming out. Thank you, my friend. Says a 10-team happy PR league where we got Herbert, Mixon, Fournette, ETN, Keenan Allen, T. Higgins, Kyle Pitts. On the bench, we have DJ Moore, Jerry Jeudy, AJ Dillon, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Breece Hall. How can I improve? Love the team. I mean, it's super simple in how we improve this. You have so much depth here. If you have guys like DJ Moore, Jerry Jeudy, AJ Dillon, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Breece Hall on your bench, like what could we possibly do with these guys? Legitimately. Like, you're never going to be able to start the majority of those players. I would go ahead. I would try to package someone up. We're going to take Raheem Mostert here. I think he's a lot more appealing. We know Sony Michel in Miami. Like, if we can go through, if we can try to package like Jerry Jeudy and Kyle Pitts together, and we can get Travis Kelce, if we can just go out there and overpay for the elite level tight end, I'm willing to do it. Because when you're overpaying here, you also have to be viewing it like we are opening up that bench spot. We are opening up another spot where we can make moves on the waiver wire. Because when you have a roster this loaded on the bench, like, it doesn't matter if we have like an Elijah Mitchell coming from the waiver wire last year. If you have James Robinson coming from the waiver wire 2 years ago, you're not going to be able to take advantage of it. You're not going to be able to go through and pick them up unless you want to drop Clyde Edwards-Helaire, which you're not going to. So definitely just try to make 2-for-1 deals where you see you can. I mean, if we can trade Travis Etienne, DJ Moore, and we can go out there and get someone like, I mean, Javonte Williams, that'd be very exciting. Like, we're overpaying to make those deals. Okay, Jared Goff off. Good for us. We want to see Goff. And we are 70 likes away from firing up another draft after this one. So if you want another draft, make sure you go down there, drop a like on the live stream. And if you want to get in our next draft with us, make sure you go hit the link in the live chat. Take you to Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code FLOCK when you sign up. They'll match first deposit dollar for dollar up to 100. You'll get our 2022 fantasy football rankings. And here, who are we taking? Dear God. Jameson Williams is the easiest pick ever in a tournament, but I don't necessarily know in this draft. Do we just take... Yeah, I guess we're just going to go through. We're going to take Brian Robinson. Don't know how many games we're getting out of Brian Robinson. I think it's a fine price point. We kind of punted a running back here, so we need to start bringing in more of these guys. So let's go ahead. Let's grab them. And scrolling down, we are picking at the 104 here. Joshua says David Montgomery or J.K. Dobbins. Personally, I know that obviously there are some serious injury concerns with J.K. Dobbins. Just from an overall upside standpoint in their respective offenses, like, I think that you just have such a high ceiling in that Baltimore Ravens rushing offense where this team wants to lead the NFL in rushing attempts, and I think that they can actually do that. If we go back and look at what they did in 2019 and 2020, on top of it, J.K. Dobbins, that elite level athlete, still incredibly young. I'm probably going Dobbins, but that may be the wrong call at this point. Mac Jones off the board as well as Baker Mayfield. Guys, I don't know how we're doing this 24-hour live stream. How am I supposed to live stream for 24 hours? Like, it feels like we've been live forever. And we've been live for 2.5. We would not be 10% into the 24-hour live stream at this point. We'd have another 9 of these to go in a row. Oh, that is going to be the most brutal thing I could ever. I don't know how. I literally don't know how we're going to do it. I may cry on the live stream. Y'all may see me cry on Monday. Now we have Hayden Hurst off the board, 181. We need another tight end making it back around to us. At this point, we have 5 running backs, 7 receivers, and a tight end. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. So Laviska Shenault going to Chase here, pick 182. I mean, with Laviska, obviously there was a lot of excitement last year. I mean, the thing is, you're expecting DJ Moore to get a target share close to 25%. You're expecting the same thing from CMC. Like, they're going to be soaking up so much of this offense. What is going to be left over? What is going to be left over? Okay, so Corey Davis off the board, 186. Okay, Jeff Wilson goes. Let's take Isaiah Spiller as our 6th running back. I mean, with Isaiah Spiller, of course, he's going to be dropping down with the ankle injury. Not only with the ankle injury, it looked like he wasn't even the running back 2 here before the injury, and they bring in Sony Michel. So there are a million reasons to be less excited about Isaiah Spiller now compared to where you were a month ago. But still, I think it's fine value if we're going to be looking at the elite level offense that he's playing in, and at the very least, we can say maybe, just maybe, he has a high ceiling if we were to see an injury to Austin Eckler, because we know he can catch passes. Okay, so let's move this down. We got Jared McKinnon off the board, 191. I think at this point, we're done at running back. I mean, I would have taken a tight end if we would have had Noah Fant making it back to us. But Noah Fant went right before us. I think at this point, we probably go with the tight end that y'all know I've been drafting a lot. I think he falls because here at Dark Horse already has Darren Waller and David Njoku. I don't know if James would take another. This team already has 3 tight ends. Elon Mollusk, I like the name, already has Dalton Schultz and Alberto. I don't know if they would take another. So I don't know what ends up happening. I think we're going to get a tight end, yeah. Let's get our guy Logan Thomas here. You got to leave me alone, okay? Guys, I know y'all are tired of seeing this, and I know everybody on the planet thinks their dog is the best thing ever, and everybody is so annoying when they talk about their dog. I get it. But look at this girl. Like, I know. There's nothing more annoying than a person with a dog talking about their dog. But look at this. Come here. Tell him hi. I know. I know you want up here. Just sitting here staring at me. Okay. Sorry for that. But let's move this over again. Eno Benjamin, 199. Devin Duvernay goes 198. Y'all know I'm rooting for my guy, Devin Duvernay. I think with this last round pick, like if we were playing in a tournament style draft, we 100% just go wide receiver. We don't think twice about it. But in a private draft, maybe we go third tight ends. The thing is, when we take Kyle Pitts, a big reason we go Kyle Pitts is so we can save that extra roster spot to go running back or receiver. I don't know. Carson Wentz goes 201. Good for us. Get as many of these quarterbacks going. As many of these QBs going. Slide this over. And we are 25 likes away on the live stream from firing up another draft. So if y'all want another draft, go down there, drop a like. And if you want to join our next draft, go to the link in the live chat. Go to the link in the description. Go sign up for Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code FLOCK. When you use promo code FLOCK, you'll get our rankings. You'll get our draft guide. You'll get a 100% deposit match. So it's essentially free for you to try out. And at the same time, you'll be able to get in a ton of drafts with us. I mean, we are drafting nonstop and legitimately that 24-hour live stream, as I've said. It's going to be 10 times what we just did. 10 times what we just did. So for the love of God, I need you to come out here. I need you to help me with that and get in some of these drafts. So I don't know how we're going to fill 50 drafts. Aqua says, for real, 24 hours. Yes, we said earlier this offseason that if we hit 90,000 subscribers on the channel before the season started, we'd do a 24-hour live stream draft marathon. At the time, I thought there was no harm, no foul, because I thought there was no way that we were actually going to hit it. I thought it was going to be like a cool little challenge. We'd get some subscribers. And my biggest fear became reality. We hit it. And now I have to do that 24-hour live stream on Monday. Okay. We got Riz on the clock. I think, yeah. I mean, at this point, like if you're looking at wide receivers that are available to us here, maybe Nelson Aguilar is more appealing when you have no Tyquan Thornton, but I don't know. I don't necessarily think any of these receivers are too appealing. Like Odell Beckham Jr. in a tournament style contest when we're chasing the ceiling for weeks 15, 16, 17, definitely. But in this league in particular, I'm unsure. Donald Parham, though, I don't even know if he's healthy. We'll go through. We'll take Brevin Jordan, possibly the second tight end for the Houston Texans. And we are 5 likes away from the going through and firing up another draft. So I'm going to assume that that's probably happening here. Jake Carlos says 200,000 subs by the end of the season. Oh, my friend, there's a 0% chance. There's a 0% chance. We had 200,000 subs. Like I knew when we set the 90,000 goal, I said it definitely something realistic that I thought there was like a 2 to 3% chance we hit it. Like I knew it was possible. But I don't even, do the fantasy footballers have like 200,000 subscribers? And they've been like the biggest channel on YouTube for like 15 years or something? Or there's no way we'd ever get there. Okay. Sending this out now, it says a $3 draft here on the live stream. And if you have not set up your Underdog account, it's going to be too late for you to join this draft. So set up your Underdog account for our next draft, especially for the live stream tomorrow night, night after that, and then all day Monday. 24 hours. Okay, now let's swing this back around. We get the 103. We've been getting some pretty good draft picks. I mean, we had to deal with the 112 in one of the drafts tonight. But outside of that, we've been pretty lucky with our picks. I mean, we've had the 101. We've had like the 103. I think this is our second draft with the 103. We've had the 104. I think we've only had one draft with a bad pick. And that was 12. So we're going to be in a good spot here. Corvette says, not going to lie, when you said it, I didn't think it was possible. Yeah. I mean, when I said if we hit 90,000, I thought it was possible. Like, possible is a bad word for it. I just thought it was highly, highly unlikely. And yeah, now we are only 38 subs away from hitting 89,000. Like, dear God, y'all are just absolutely crazy. Dan coming out says 102. Here we go, Mason. Happy to have you out here, Dan. And I don't know if we have you as a moderator yet. We definitely need to make you one if you're not. Yeah, let me go through and make you a moderator if you weren't. But yeah, Dan going up against us to the 102. Dan's a tough drafter, so not the most exciting for us. A CMC off the board here too. So let's go ahead and actually, we're not going to take Jefferson. We are going to go ahead and take Kupp. We were taking Justin Jefferson over Cooper Kupp for quite some time, but the more that we look into the Stafford injury, the less I'm worried about it. Like, I think maybe we are just trying to overthink it, because if we go through and look at this, Cooper Kupp last season, of course, 17 game year, so it's a little bit deceiving. 145 receptions, 1,947 receiving yards, and 16 receiving touchdowns. Cooper Kupp led the NFL in receptions, receiving yards, and touchdowns. His quarterback's the same. He's 29 years old. And in the playoffs, I mean, even in the 4-game playoff stretch, he's out there 478 receiving yards in the playoffs, 6 receiving touchdowns in the playoffs, averaging 1.5 touchdowns per game. Like, I think maybe we're overthinking it. I don't know. Let's just take Cooper Kupp at 3. So Najee Harris goes off the board here. So nothing that, like, what am I supposed to talk about? I guess actually Austin Eckler falls to 7. Very rarely are you getting Eckler falling to 7. I think that it's okay now whenever you're seeing Sony Michel being added into the situation. And at the same time, you also have Isaiah Spiller healthy. But here, I'm going to get this dog out of the room. She cannot leave me alone. That's why she's not allowed in here when we stream. Come on, let's go. Yeah, so I guess really the only main thing to look at, I mean, Davante Adams falls to 12. Very rarely you get a Davante Adams falling to 12 or Najee Harris in the first round. But I do think all those running backs are in the same tier. So, like, yeah, you never really see Najee Harris in the first round anymore. But it should not be that surprising when he does end up going there, considering the fact that all these guys are about the same. Okay, Kamara off the board. Let's swing this back around. I feel like we've been taking a lot of Deebo Samuel lately. Like, I'm not even necessarily a massive Deebo guy. Okay, it looks like it's everybody's birthday in the live chat right now. Happy birthday, everyone. If it's anybody's actual birthday, happy birthday. Hope you have a great one. I don't know if it's tonight, tomorrow, whatever the deal is. But NFL Blitz coming out. Jamar Chase in the first. See what they decide to do. Yeah, if it's anybody's birthday, send me your social security card. Send me your driver's license as well. And if I get your social security card, your driver's license, and your probably address, last water bill, I'll give you a birthday shout out on the stream. But I'm going to need all that stuff to verify. Okay. Deebo Samuel off. Mark Andrews goes here at the end of the second by us. And I like taking Mark Andrews here, as we always say, because we can get Lamar Jackson in the 4th, and we're taking Lamar Jackson in the 4th no matter what. So let's see what Dan decides to do. Dan went, I believe, CMC. Yeah, so following up the Christian McCaffrey pick with Tyreek Hill. And of course, YouTube, do not think I'm actually asking people for social security cards. It's a joke. Nobody sent me their card or anything. It's a joke. Please, for the love of God, do not shut the stream down. Kyle Pitts off the board, 25. Don't know exactly what we're looking for. I mean, y'all know I'm completely fine taking Nick Chubb in the third. We probably break it down Nick Chubb, then A.J. Brown. Yeah, A.J. Brown goes, so we're going to go ahead. We're going to get Nick Chubb. I'm happy with the Nick Chubb selection in the third round. Like, this is the year that I'm finally drafting Nick Chubb, and I'm not necessarily worried about it either because it's a half PPR format. Like, he doesn't catch passes, but at the same time, it's not a full PPR league. We're not having to go out there and pay for the passing down upside. People are finally realizing that we are in a situation where he's not going to catch the ball for you. So I think it's a fine price point to pay for Nick Chubb. But we only have one wide receiver through the first 3 rounds. We have the elite level tight end, which, of course, we're always going for. Josh Allen off the board here at 30. Daxter Boys goes with the wide receiver every approach. And I don't know the last time we had CeeDee Lamb falling all the way to 17 on underdog. That is definitely a team that I want to be monitoring. I mean, very, very, very rarely are you seeing Stephon Diggs, CeeDee Lamb on the same build. And then also getting Mike Williams falling past ADP as well. I would assume that there are not many underdog teams at all that had that start through the first 3 rounds. Let's cut Sutton off the board here at 35. I mean, I just want to see what Daxter Boy is going to end up getting in the 4th round here after starting Stephon Diggs, CeeDee Lamb, and Mike Williams. You're never getting that value on CeeDee Lamb. Never. I wonder if Lamb's going to be falling with the positive buzz around Michael Gallup, though. Just given the fact that maybe it's not a cakewalk for CeeDee Lamb to come out here and see some crazy target share for the Dallas Cowboys. Swears World says the 24-hour live stream's on Monday. Yes, sir. The 24-hour live stream's on Monday. So you better be out here and you better be drafting with me. For the love of God, my man. I know you've been with us for years. Please, please, please. Come out and draft with us and hang out with us on Monday. I'm worried that it is going to be a very underwhelming live stream, and it's going to be. I booked some very exciting people for y'all. I'll say that. I think from a viewer standpoint, it is going to be phenomenal. I am just very worried about my own sanity. It's like right now I am exhausted with this live stream, and it's been 3 hours. It hasn't even been 3 hours. We'd have to do 21 more hours. I simply don't know how it's going to happen. Like, what am I going to be saying 12 hours in? I'm very worried. Okay. But now we have Lamar going 42. So we're getting sniped on Lamar Jackson there. So Daxter Boys decides to grab Justin Herbert to pair up with Mike Williams. I mean, I think that's a very smart call. Don't necessarily have too many different things you could go through and do. God, we were just putting a tough spot now that our guy Lamar Jackson's off the board. Juju goes, okay, so we get a gift. We're going to go ahead and we're going to take Jerry Jeudy here as our second wide receiver. Was not excited about this Jerry Jeudy value at the end of the 4th round before the injury to Tim Patrick, but post Tim Patrick injury, yeah, I'm 100% going to go through and make this pick. I don't think we have to overthink this at all. We would just take Tim Patrick here. George Kittle goes off the board, 47. Good thing for us. We want to see these tight ends off. Like, it'd be very nice for us to get Waller as well. But in reality, I mean, Dan already has Kittle. This team already has Kyle Pitts as well, so I'd be surprised if we got Darren Waller off. So we're just they're going to get Patrick Mahomes or Breece Hall. Hell, I'm fine with either guy. Like, I think we're sitting pretty with either one. See what Dan decides to do. He has CMC, Tyreek Hill, AJ Brown, and George Kittle. Goes Patrick Mahomes, so we are going to go ahead. We're going to take Breece Hall. Obviously, Breece Hall falling in drafts, but you're not drafting the rookie Breece Hall for him to come in, be the starting running back, be a league winner starting week 1. You're drafting the rookie running back that checks every single box, similar to what we did with Nick Chubb 2018, Miles Sanders 2019, Jonathan Taylor 2020. You're drafting them hoping that you get the elite level breakout, the elite level ceiling in the second half of the season, which I think there is that possibility here with Breece Hall. So let's go ahead. Let's take him at 51. And now that I think about this out loud, I mean, we've been saying it, but I am so worried. This 24-hour live stream, please come out to the 24-hour live stream on Monday. Get in some drafts with us. If you haven't signed up for Underdog Fantasy, go sign up for Underdog. Use promo code FLOCK. When you use promo code FLOCK, they'll match first deposit dollar for dollar up to $200. So it's essentially free for you to try out. You'll get our rankings. You'll get our draft guide with a $10 deposit. And we draft every single night in the live stream. You come draft with us, draft in the public lobby, draft with your friends, whatever you want to do. But most importantly, please go sign up for Underdog and come out to the live stream on Monday, because we're going to have 24 hours of drafts that we need to fill. And I don't know how we're doing it. Okay, so Michael Thomas picks 60. Cam Akers goes 59. I've been taking a lot of 5th round Cam Akers. Like, I know that we're probably going to end up regretting it. It is what it is. But it's 5th round Cam Akers. Okay, so if you have the draft guide and you want updates, we have been making these announcements lately. All you need to do is go and email me. You can find the email address in the description of the video live stream. We've been making the announcements on the channel. If you have a draft guide, if you got that on Underdog, if you got that on flockfantasy.com, email me. I'd be happy to get you the updated rankings. Happy to get that for you. Okay. So let's throw this over. I mean, there are a couple different players that I like here. David Montgomery was one of them. Sadly, we're not going to get David Montgomery here at pick 70. Trey Lance has been. It's funny that Lance is about to have an ADP behind Burrow as well. Elijah Mitchell gone. Elijah Mitchell has been more appealing now that Trey Sermon's off this roster. Chase Edmonds goes. Let's go ahead and let's take Brandon Ayuk here. I think it's an easy call to go Brandon Ayuk. I mean, we need another wide receiver. We get him as a 3rd option, and also we have the potential now to stack Lance and Ayuk. Dan already has Mahomes. I don't know. Do either one of these teams have Debo? No, but Dan has Kittle. Let's see what Dan decides to do. Murad coming out. Thank you, my friend. Says 15 16th picks. I am listening and doing Saquon and Jones/Swift. I see Kamara falling. Do I take a risk on him there? Also found Hollywood and the Kyler stack after. I really like the Hollywood and Kyler stack after. What I would say is, in regards of Alvin Kamara, I am personally still taking DeAndre Swift. I'm still taking Aaron Jones over him. We have them in the same tier, so if you wanted to go Kamara, you could. I just think that if it's possible at all that we see a Kamara suspension, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take the other running backs because I think the other running backs have similar ceilings when it comes to their usage in the receiving game. If we're looking at the target competition that we are going to have, specifically with the New Orleans Saints, with Michael Thomas, Chris Olave, Jarvis Landry. So I think from a raw points per game perspective, yeah, Kamara probably outscores those other running backs, but it's not a massive gap between all of them. And at the same time, you have no injury concerns at all with those other guys. And we have Joe Burrow, 77. Yeah, so now we take Trey Lance, 75. Super easy pick. I mean, that's why we took Brandon Ayuk here, so we could go through. We could get that stack up with Trey Lance. Makes sense. Get the Russian quarterback. Get the wide receiver also that has access to spike weeks on a week-to-week basis. So yeah, let's go through. Let's make the 49ers turn here. I think it's super simple. Okay, now we have Russell Wilson off the board here at 83. Jack says, does Jimmy G's new contract affect Lance? I've been operating under the assumption that it hasn't. I think what maybe happened is just they couldn't get anything for Jimmy G, and they were like, okay, man, if we're going to keep you on the roster, if something opens up during the season, we'd be happy to go through. We'd be happy to ship you off. But he restructured. That way they could easily move him in trade during the year if an opportunity arises. I don't know. I've been operating the assumption that Jimmy Garoppolo has no shot to start in San Francisco this upcoming season. Okay, so Dallas Goedert off the board, pick 86. Let's see what we have. I think we have the flexibility to do a bunch of different things here. Where at quarterback, we have Lance. A wide receiver, we have Cooper Kupp, Jerry Jeudy, Brandon Ayuk. Running back, Nick Chubb, Breece Hall. And then we have the elite level tight end in Mark Andrews as well. So I think we can do a bunch of different things. Let's just see what value makes it to us. Hunt off. We're going to go ahead. We're going to take Antonio Gibson here as our third running back. I mean, obviously, when we have Patrick Mahomes, we're taking MVS. We're not thinking about it, but we don't have Patrick Mahomes on this build, so it doesn't matter as much. Okay, MVS goes a 95. Yeah, I think Dan ended up taking Patrick Mahomes earlier on, so it makes a lot of sense. George Pickens off. Do we go ahead? I think we just take Robert Woods. We've been saying this a lot, but if we're playing in these tournament drafts where you have to optimize for weeks 15, 16, 17, I'll take the elite level ceiling with Treylon Burks, but no, let's go Woods here. I think Woods just has the role right away. I don't think you have to see Woods develop at the position. I think that we already know who Robert Woods is. Very consistent wide receiver. Makes a lot of sense to pick 99. Let's scroll this down, and Dan coming out says the Ayuk and Lance move isn't able to happen too often here, and I like that. That's a couple nice stacks there. Thank you, my friend. I definitely appreciate it. MAZ says, Mason, will you pick 2 for defense? Denver, Dallas, Indy. Which one to start and which one for the long haul? I'm looking to start Denver. Okay, I think Denver's going up against Seattle. If that's the case, you have to start Denver. Nothing else you can do. Nothing else you can do. Regarding Dallas or Indianapolis for the long term, actually, Indy's going up against, I don't know. What are the lines here? I thought the biggest spread week 1 was Indianapolis, Houston. The spread with Seattle and Denver is only 6 to 6.5. 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . 5 . That is very surprising. Actually, you know what? I think we probably start Indianapolis' defense this week against the Houston Texans. Yeah, let me look up the schedule we have for the Colts. So the Colts get Houston, then Jacksonville, 2 easy starts. Chiefs you have to avoid, but then you could start them against the Titans, then Broncos, then you can start them against the Jags again, then the Titans again, then the Commanders. The Colts have an easy schedule to open up the year. I think we start the Colts, and I think the Colts are the defense for the long haul too. Because I don't want to be rostering multiple defenses every single week. I would rather go through. I would rather look to have one and then say, like, if you really don't want to start the Colts against the Patrick Mahomes, Kansas City Chiefs, then sure, you can go through and you can drop them whenever we are in week 3, and you can pick up another option for that week in particular. Okay, everyone, I am so sorry to do this to you, but we've been live for over 3 hours now. Been live for like 3 to 4 hours every single night, and my voice is going out. I am exhausted, and I'm really starting to question my ability to do a 24-hour live stream. So I am going to have to cut this off here, prepare for the 24-hour stream. And of course, if you have not done so already, please go down there, drop a like in the live stream, subscribe to the channel, go use promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy, get our rankings, get our draft guide, and also, please, for the love of God, come out here for the 24-hour live stream on Monday because it is going to be absolutely brutal. But thank you again. I truly do appreciate you, and I hope you have a great night.